Get a gold jacket, play my saxophone again. I'll stop and smell the flowers, call my mom more.
Ugh, wrap it up, Todd.
It's Toddrick.
This month's scratch-offs pack over $78 million in total prizes. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.76 to 4.98. Problem and gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
When it comes to mixing drugs, you may think you have a safe approach, but the bottom line is, mixing drugs is never safe. It can cause serious health problems like a heart attack or brain damage. Learn more at cdc.gov/stop-overdose.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at ritchielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
You're listening to The Adam Gold Show.
Barnes will be the running back, and he'll get the call on first down. Big hole to the 30, 35, 40, sprinting down the near sideline. He's to the Tar Heel 30, 20, 10, 5, touchdown TCU. 75 yards. One play into the second half, and it's 26-7 for the Horned Frogs. My goodness, what a stunning play to start the third quarter.
Hi, everyone. It's the Adam Gold Show. Sorry, I was just digesting that dagger. Oh, we'll talk about it. Hope all is well in your world. I trust for maybe half of you, it's fine.
Well, our names aren't Bill Belichick,
right.
So we're good.
Half of you, it's cloudy, even though it is, I think, sunny and pretty nice today.
Mm-hmm.
This fake fall is just kind of continuing to grace our front door. All right, so it didn't go well. We'll talk about it. Hope everybody had a good weekend otherwise. Long weekend. NC State played on Thursday, as did Duke. Wake Forest played on Friday. Kennesaw State, huh? Hey, it's a win, right? App played on Friday.
Yeah, they did.
Down in Charlotte.
They won.
Thumped the 49ers. And Charlotte will be the next opponent for North Carolina. We'll talk about that a little bit. So obviously there was a fair amount of stuff for everybody to digest. It was an otherwise, I think, pretty good weekend. Not a great one. You know, I wouldn't go higher than like a B for the ACC, but it wasn't a D.
Right.
There was some really good in this weekend for the Atlantic Coast Conference. We're going to get to all of that. Bren Rener is going to stop by, former North Carolina star quarterback, the also a member of the broadcast crew who, like, intentionally just wanted to take in the game last night and did not work it. Okay. We're going to talk to Bryn about that coming up in about an hour or so. David Hale from ESPN is going to join us. It is week 1 of the NFL.
I know.
The season begins in 2 days. Thursday night. Dallas at Philadelphia. Cowboys are 8.5-point underdogs in Philly.
Wow.
Before we get going, 2 things. First, the Cowboys and the Panthers basically have the exact same odds to make the playoffs.
Which is crazy.
Plus 270.
Crazy.
Yeah. Now, the Cowboys' odds to make the playoffs weren't significantly better before they did the dumb.
Yeah.
And trade away probably their best player in Micah Parsons. But, you know, I think it was like 240 or something like that. It's still not great. But my gosh, Cowboys and Panthers have the same odds to make the playoffs. All right, you can find us on YouTube at when you go to YouTube, search Adam Gold Show or 99.9 The Fan, and you'll find us. You can contribute in the chat.
That's always fun.
Oh, especially today.
Oh yeah.
We'll get to your thoughts when we do one-timers at the end of this hour. Also, if you are inclined, If you want to break off a phone call in the next 20 or so minutes, we will entertain your thoughts on what we saw last night in Chapel Hill. And if you were one of the many, I will say 30,000 people who opted to leave in the middle of the third quarter,
Yeah.
I will hear your reason why.
Oh, yeah. Well,
That's fine. I got a lot of pushback. Of course, a lot of pats on the back, depending on which, school you root for. When I criticized UNC fans for bailing in the middle of the third quarter. I get it. It's a school night. Because that snuck up on us. Anyway, 919-860-5326. If you are inclined and want to talk about any element of what we saw yesterday.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, exactly. Let's begin.
Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here.
All right. Man, did it look good for a few minutes.
Literally, just a few.
Did it look good for a few minutes? They got the opening kickoff. They ran it well. Gio Lopez connected on a couple of throws to Jordan Shipp. Caleb Hood found the end zone. It was glorious. I could feel North Carolina fans, not just fans, but the money behind the program, the money behind the decision to bring Bill Belichick to town, to bring Jordan Hudson and her antics to town. You see, she was wearing one of the Super Bowl rings last
was
night.
she?
Yeah. Hey, I mean, he's got 6.
Yeah.
Pick out your favorite one and wear it. She really should have been wearing it on a chain, like in high school, right?
Yeah.
She should have been wearing it on a chain around her neck. Either way.
A gold one, because gold digger.
Oh, that's right. Well, we don't know. So it all looked great. And then the defense took the field. And the defense got to stop right away. Holy cow. It's happening. It's happening. North Carolina is becoming an instant football powerhouse.
Right?
All right, the second series of Carolina didn't go as well.
No.
Right? No, it's no good. And then, in my opinion, there were 3 moments of the game that all went against North Carolina. And the first one might have changed the entire game. I don't know. We could have this debate all year long for every game. Where's the turning point? Where did it flip? In my opinion, a very poor defensive pass interference call. There wasn't enough there to impede a completion. North Carolina did not get the benefit of the exact same play that went TCU's way when Carolina had the ball later on. I thought it was a bad call. Does it change the outcome of the game? Almost certainly not, because what we saw over the next, 45 minutes of game action, yeah, it pretty much told us what was going to happen anyway.
So bad.
But you just don't know. I thought that was a bad call. All right. TCU goes in and ties it. It's 7-7. They went right down the field after that. So then it's 10-7. Carolina back on defense because the offense is now on walkabout. They're gone. They're somewhere. They went over 2 hours of our lives last night between pass completions.
Wow.
Over 2 hours. 8-12 Lopez to Shipp. And then it was almost 10:30 before the next completion. Uh-huh. Okay.
Terrible.
Oh, yeah, well, there's nothing good about it. But right after they make a great defensive play to intercept Hoover, or Jordan Hoover, whatever his name is, for TCU. 3 plays later, on third down, Gio Lopez throws a pick six. And I'm not that to me that didn't end the game. We'll get to it. But it was A, a bad decision because the receiver was covered, and B, a worse throw than a decision. Because the throw, even if there was no defender there, that pass was not going to be completed. It was too far behind the receiver. It was just a terrible, terrible throw and an easy interception and a touchdown the other way. And now it's 10-7, and maybe you just keep that game where it is right there heading to halftime. But no, you give up a defensive touchdown. Now it's 17-7. Some mismanagement before the end of the half allowed TCU to get the ball back with a ton of time left. And they drove down the field and scored, kicked the field goal. Got inside the 10, kicked the field goal to make it 20-7. And I thought, okay, obviously the last, 18 minutes of game action, whatever it was, were tragically bad. But it's 20-7. I mean, get a stop to start the half.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick goes and makes some adjustments in the locker room. You come out of the second half, you get a stop, then maybe you score. And I was thinking the exact same thing as Kirk Herbstreit was thinking.
You throw in the interception, pick six by Bud Clark, comfortable 13-point lead. And in my opinion, the way that first half went, it's a big drive for the North Carolina defense.
That was the Capital One rewarding performance, and this is a rewarding run as Gavorian Barnes is out the gate, inside the 30, to the 10. Touchdown TCU, 75 yards and no flags.
One play.
As I finished a sentence about how big of a drive this is for the North Carolina defense, Kendall Briles and company said it's a pretty big drive for us. We got a shot here. And by the way...
So, that was not a play designed for a 75-yard touchdown run. He went right up the middle, cut to the outside, and was gone. Do you know, if it were a game of one-hand touch, it would have been a touchdown.
Wow.
Nobody put a finger on him.
That's insane.
Good blocking. It
Where's
was
the
over.
Defense?
That ended the game.
Yeah.
So, to me, that's not the turning point. For me, the turning point was either the pick six or the pass interference. You have no idea what happens if Carolina can get off the field. It was 2nd and 11 at the time of the defensive pass interference. Who knows what happens after that? Again, does it change the outcome of the game? I am in no way suggesting that. But I think the game looks a little bit different in the first half. Ultimately, North Carolina lost 48-14 because they were wholly outmanned. Not even there were. It was almost like watching. Not almost. It was exactly like watching FBS versus lower level FCS. That's what it was. It was. I mean, or when. In some ways, it was like watching when Nebraska and Oklahoma would play bad teams back in the day. They got outgained by over 200 yards on the ground. It was ugly. Every possible way, it was ugly. And afterwards, Bill Belichick started the explanation.
Well, it was a great atmosphere here for the game tonight. Fans had tremendous energy all walk. And, we played competitively, but then just couldn't sustain it. So, obviously, we have a lot of work to do. We need to do a better job all the way around, coaching, playing, all three phases of the game. Just wasn't up to what it needs to be, and I know we're a lot better than that. So, we'll need to work on those things and show it on Saturday on a quick turnaround. But, give TCU credit. They came in and did a good job, and they were clearly the better team tonight. They deserved to win, and they did it decisively.
Okay. We've heard many versions of that over the years, albeit not with a 34-point beat 'em down.
Yeah.
So, Bill, what went wrong?
Multiple things. Anytime you give up 2 turnovers to touchdowns offensively, that's not good. We gave up several long plays on defense, where they gained a lot of yards on one play. So, just too many of those. There wasn't any one thing. It was a combination of multiple things. Too many 3-and-outs, too many long plays on defense, and then 2 turnovers. we had 3 turnovers, 2 turnovers, touchdowns. You can't overcome that.
Yeah, I mean, look, you can you can come up with any number of stats to. I mean, TCU had like more. It was just crazy. They had so many big plays. Carolina. It wasn't so much that Carolina tackled poorly. It's just that they weren't really in position to tackle for a lot of the night. Yeah. Did TCU break some tackles? Sure. But I just think that Carolina was just easily blocked.
Yeah. I feel like their defense left with the fans.
Holy cow. It was egregious. Again, go back and watch that touchdown run to open the second half. I mean, it went right up the middle. And there were no broken tackles there. There was just nobody is available to make a tackle because they have all been easily blocked on the play. All right. I mentioned that it was over 2 hours. Gio Lopez looked good on the opening drive. He had 2 really sharp completions to Jordan Shipp, our friend from ACC Football Kickoff. And then his second completion at 8:12 was the last completion until nearly 10:30. Again, I believe to Jordan Shipp, a 15-yard pass over the middle. Then they completed another pass on that drive for a loss of, 4 or so, whatever it was. They lost yards on that completion. And that was it. Gio Lopez got hurt right after that. Hope he's okay. And then Carolina whipped out their Johnsons. It was Max Johnson, the quarterback, tossing a touchdown pass to his brother, the tight end. That was awesome.
Yeah.
And I know Tar Heel fans we started the wrong quarterback. Folks, relax.
It's a lot more wrong than the quarterback.
Yeah. Now, Max Johnson did look drastically different from the quarterback that we watched against Minnesota last year to open the season. I thought he looked terrible in that game against Minnesota. Then, of course, we all know what happened with the injury, and that ultimately became like the best possible thing for North Carolina is that Max Johnson played well, so they get to tell his story about coming back from a gruesome injury. I don't need to see the play, by the way, nor the scar. I don't want to see the scar either. And what it's done now is that it's opened up a conversation. The guy we paid $2 million for from South Alabama, Gio Lopez, or Max Johnson, Coach?
Yeah, we'll see how Gio is. They took him off, took a look at him. Hopefully it's not too bad, but we'll see. Give Max a lot of credit. He came in there after, being off for a long time and, hung in there, made some plays, in a tough situation. So, give him a lot of credit for what he did tonight. But we'll take a look at it after we see where things are at here and go from there. I don't know. It's too early to tell now.
We have no idea what's going to happen to quarterback. But I'm not sure it matters if you can't, be in position to make tackles. We're not going to spend time talking to Bill Belichick, right? He's not doing his own coach's show. The post-game stuff is not going to be very illuminating, and that's okay. But I remember back in the day when John Bunting became the head coach, and I love John Bunting. I will love him to the day I'm done doing this for his openness, for his candor. For people who remember the John Bunting years, John used to come on with us every Monday at the start of the show. Every week. It didn't matter. Good, bad, indifferent, he would come on. And I remember him saying one day to me, we couldn't get lined up right defensively. And I thought, man, what a terrible thing to admit to the public that you couldn't start the play where you were supposed to be. And that, to me, is I'm not sure that wasn't what happened to North Carolina on some of these plays, but they looked too easy. All right. I have some bigger picture things about last night. I've been talking about this for a while. There was more hype on this game than there has ever been for a season opener in the history of UNC football. I don't care where you thought this team would be or this program in any specific season. There has never been more hype around a particular opener than it was, and the season, of course, but the opener specifically.
Yeah, you could tell by the people that showed up to it.
Oh, my God. Randy Moss was there.
Yeah.
Awesome. But yeah, Lawrence Taylor was there.
Yep, Michael Jordan.
ESPN brought everybody,
Mm-hmm.
right? Pat McAfee was there. Michael Jordan was there. Jordan Hudson was there.
Mm-hmm.
2 Jordans in the house. Anyway, Eric Church.
Yeah.
Eric Church is a big Tar Heel fan. Anyway, so there was more hype about it than anything. They did everything but have a red carpet, right? They shut the house lights off.
Yeah.
They had this big show. Like, it was a production.
Balloons everywhere.
Right. By the way, did you see the balloons
I
in the
did.
press conference after the game?
I did.
Somebody needs a brain.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Let's wheel those out.
We just got our pants pulled down
Yeah.
for 3 hours on national television.
Right.
Maybe we get the balloons out.
Yeah, get the intern to pop them all before he shows up.
It's not Jordan's birthday.
No, or a baby shower.
What's the difference?
Exactly.
It's not Jordan's birthday. Let's get the balloons out of here. All right. So they did all of that. And then you saw what happened on the field. There couldn't have been a bigger letdown than what we saw. They could have lost the game, 30-20. But they didn't. We saw the mismatch. 29 first downs to 10. 258 rushing yards to 50. Like, utter ineptitude to a program that looked like, maybe it'll be among, if not the best, in the Big 12. I don't know. We have no idea. If from North Carolina's perspective, you better hope that TCU is legit. Like, I'm not talking about national championship or even playoff, but at the top of their league, competing for the Big 12 title. Because there are a lot of things to digest from last night. And by the way, for all of the people who took their shots, this will never work out. They made fun of UNC for attempting what they're trying to do here. Bill Belichick for $10 million a year, funneling all the money, all the investment into the program, which I'm good with. Fine. But all of the people who criticized it, man, were they dunking on UNC last night. And everybody's going to have to wear that. So this is a conversation from Get Up this morning. Mike Greenberg, Greg McElroy, and who, by the way, was on the the Miami-Notre Dame game on Sunday, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But also Heather Dinich is at the very end of this, but I think it's worth listening to.
Well, we use a question all the time. Bad game or bad sign? Was this a bad game or a bad sign for Bill Belichick in Carolina last night?
Both. Bad game and bad sign. This is not going to get much easier. The good news is their schedule's somewhat manageable, but kind of like Sonny Dykes just referenced, every single college coach feels like they're auditioning when they get a chance to play against Bill Belichick. For a long time, the NFL has kind of looked down their nose at college coaches at some points, not all, not across the board, but they've looked down their nose on that won't work up here. Oh, you can't do that in the league. Oh, it's not going to be like that if you get to the show against real players. I think when you look at a lot of these college coaches, they're looking at Bill Belichick as kind of a sample for the NFL. And if we can take it to him, it proves that my system works at the next level. And that right now, amongst many college coaches, is where they want to go, because the NFL lifestyle is a lot more manageable than the college lifestyle right now. They don't have the players. They didn't make the adjustments. They struggled at quarterback until Max Johnson came off the bench at the end of the game. This is not going to get a whole lot better. And guess what? They got Clemson coming to town in a couple weeks, and Clemson has to kind of run a fine line down the stretch. So they got a lot of things to iron out. But hey, who's done it better in his career than Bill Belichick? Hopefully he can find some answers.
Heather, final word.
I don't know that they're going to find many answers. ESPN's FPI says they're going to win 4 games this year. 4.
4!
That's it.
4 games.
You
Look,
can use one hand.
FPI is, well, I'm not going to give it too much credence yet. FPI still has Texas number 1. I mean, they lost.
They did.
Right? They lost to a team that was ranked just behind them, and the team that was just behind them did move ahead of them. So, I'm not sure what to make of FPI. It doesn't matter. Bottom line is that it was ice water in the face for everybody who backed the program. And I'm talking about the higher-ups who swung for the fences and ended up with Bill Belichick because they feel like this is the golden ticket. It's like they rubbed a bottle, the genie popped out, and the genie gave them Bill Belichick, and they just assumed, boom, here we go.
We're good.
Instant football. And it's never going to work that way. I will tell you this. There is not a planet on which I believe Bill Belichick assumed that he didn't think they would get trucked. But I don't believe Bill Belichick looked at his team and saw national contender or ACC contender. But I'm sure he looked at his team and went, I think we'll be okay. And this year was always going to be the foundation from which to build next year. It looks like they might have even further to go than anybody thought, and that's okay. It was never going to be instant gratification. All right, we're going to talk about this, and we'll work in the rest of the ACC with David Hale from ESPN.com next.
From the heels,
Touchdown, Carolina.
to the canes,
She scores!
he covers it all. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
We are knocking on the door of the regular season for the Carolina Panthers, and there are still so many questions on the defensive depth chart. The depth, the second unit. What happens if someone gets hurt? For the Carolina Panthers defense is the type of question where the answers are harrowing. You don't want to see them. It's like the end of a horror movie. Just roll credits.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Adam Gold here from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. We are giving you a reason to lock into the college football season early. My gosh, TCU at UNC. I'm going with the Tar Heels to win it outright, even though they are home underdogs. And we're going to go over 56.5. That would bring you plus 311 using the FanDuel app. And new customers can bet $5, win that bet, and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. I just gave you a winner. Why not take $300 worth of our money? FanDuel.com/Adam Gold. FanDuel.com/Adam Gold. Get started today. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Summer's almost over, but the heat is pressing on. If you've got battery trouble, stop by AutoZone for free battery testing. It may just need a charge, and we'll do that for free too. If you do need a battery, we've got options starting at just $89.99, and we'll recycle your old battery for free. Now that's a strong start. Don't miss the end of summer sale, now at AutoZone until September 22nd.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
See if you're a winner every night. Watch live lottery drawings on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news. That's right, Carolina Pick 3, Carolina Pick 4, and Carolina Cash 5 numbers every night on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news. See if you're a winner before you go off to bed. Get your lottery numbers live every night.
North Carolina Education Lottery.
Only on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news.
This is Dr. Craig McGiffin with Raleigh Weight Loss Center. Did you know, according to research, a majority of people gain their weight back after stopping those expensive weight loss shots? Don't become another statistic. Our doctor-developed program doesn't just help you lose weight, it helps you keep it off for good. We've helped over 70,000 people lose up to 10 to 20% of their body weight in just 8 weeks and maintain their results long-term. No more yo-yo dieting or weight regain. Visit RaleighWeightLossCenter.com now to schedule your free consultation.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan here for my friends over at Raleigh Weight Loss Center. I've been with the program for just over a month, and I'm down nearly 30 pounds. That's real numbers, folks. Down nearly 30 pounds thanks to Raleigh Weight Loss Center. And you can also get to not only that goal weight, but maintain that goal weight. That's why you got to visit RaleighWeightLossCenter.com. Again, RaleighWeightLossCenter.com, or call them directly, 919-897-7506. The number one more time, 919-897-7506. Results may vary. Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. It's that time of year, folks. Back on the open road, taking a cruise on the motorcycle, but there's always that risk when you're on the bike. That's why you got to contact Law Tigers at 1-800-LAW-TIGERS if you're injured in a motorcycle accident, even before you contact your insurance company. Insurance companies pay the least amount possible. Law Tigers, they're riders too. They know what your bike and your gear are worth and what you're going through after an accident. 1-800-LAW-TIGERS. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
One Adam Gold. One Adam Gold.
Turtle cake? Like, what are we... What?
Isn't that an ice cream?
What? Where's the confetti cake? Because, hello, confetti cake, delicious. With the little, I don't even know if it's real, but the little dots in the icing, like...
None of these are real.
What kind of fake thing that is, but it's delicious. It's my childhood. Like, that wasn't in the top 10. His opinion's invalid to me.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being glorious carrot cake, and 1 being whatever that cake was, turtle cake, whatever that is.
Yeah.
The North Carolina performance last night was about a negative 11.
Yeah.
It's just there's no way to measure it in any way positive unless you left early, like right after the first drive. David Hale from ESPN at a David Hale joint on Twitter. ESPN.com, ACC Scribe joins us on the Adam Gold Show. I mean, if you only watched the first drive, it was pretty good. Overall, what'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's a valid point. If you were like, if you timed your drunkenness so that you just blacked out after the first drive, holy crap, you had a great night last night. But yeah, unfortunately, things kind of deteriorated a tad for the North Carolina faithful after that. At least most of them were smart enough to leave and not spend the entire second half watching that debacle.
It was like I thought, and I'm trying to put a positive spin on it. I mean, I'm at home, I'm not at the game, and I thought, man, if you can get a stop right here to start the second half, maybe you get some points on the board. You're not out of it. You're only 2 scores down now. If you can get this manageable, keep it, and then untouched 75-yard touchdown run, and we were pretty much done at that point. Could you find anything positive for UNC really after that first drive?
Well, there's 2 things that I thought were really good after the first drive. The one is as somebody who is emotionally tied into a good story, was very happy for Max Johnson.
Sure.
That was a cool thing to see. And then 2 is mercifully it ended. And other than that, no, there was nothing at all to be excited about. That was, after that first drive, truly about as inept a football performance as I've ever seen. And I watched a lot of Florida State last year, so this is not a low bar. There is a lot. I've seen some bad football. On both sides of the ball, offensively, zero clue what in the heck you were doing. 2 hours passed without a completed pass.
Yeah.
Just horrendous. And defensively, it looked like guys who were not just bad at tackling, just didn't want to. It was so horrible. I genuinely, I don't even know how you characterize it as anything other than just a complete and total debacle.
I felt like David Hale is joining us from ESPN.com. I felt as though UNC was just very easily blocked last night. Like on that 75-yard touchdown run, that's a touchdown if we're playing one-hand touch. There were just and it wasn't even a gaping hole to run through. He got through the line untouched, and then he just kind of, one cut out to the right, and Carolina looked slow. I thought they looked in too many spots on the field unathletic, like they couldn't change direction. Maybe you get that with 70 new players from a year ago.
Yeah, look, there's a lot that goes into this. Like, you don't get beat like that for one reason. You get beat like that for a dozen or more reasons. But there's really two things that I'll point to. One, a lot of people wanted to compare this to Dion overhauling the Colorado roster, which was never a fair comparison. One, that Colorado team still finished 4-8. So let's, it's not exactly like a great comparison. But 2 years ago, you could overhaul your roster, and you could find real legitimate talent. In this year with RevShare, teams aren't letting their best players go into the portal. Every school in America that wants to keep their best players can keep them because they've got at least $7, $8, $9, $10 million to pay for player retention. So what was in the portal, the 70 guys they added, the stock in that pond was very, very limited compared to previous years. So I went into this game assuming Carolina was not going to be super talented. What I did not count on was how utterly unprepared they seemed. And, out of position, bad game planning. And look, I've said from the beginning, people wanted to point at Jordan Hudson and say, oh, what a distraction.
Mm-hmm.
The problem was the nepotism on the coaching staff. Like, he's got a guy who hasn't called plays in years and Freddie Kitchen calling plays. He's got his GM's son coaching the quarterbacks. He's got two of his sons on staff. He's got a bunch of journeyman assistants like Bob Diaco and Derek McGee. Like, it is a bad, by any metric, coaching staff that he is working with. Bill may be a genius. I'm sure he is. But it takes more than one guy, and I think that really showed up last night. And then, the other thing that I would say is I think it looked to me like Carolina really bought into the we've got Bill Belichick hype. And when they got punched in the mouth and they weren't great, it very much reminded me of many teams I've seen in the past who had their balloon deflated quickly and had no second gear to shift into.
David Hale from ESPN.com is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. And their next game, which, by the way, is Saturday, so they had 2 fewer days to prepare. Now, Bill is used to that because he's dealt with it in the NFL before. But look, Charlotte's not good either, but North Carolina didn't show enough it shouldn't give anybody confidence that they're going to go down there. I can't believe they're 2 touchdown favorites in that game, but they are. To me, they could lose that game based on what I watched. I watched ineptitude. I watched easy drops. I watched what probably was guys lined up incorrectly. Anything could happen down there.
Yeah, look, that team last night, that performance would have lost a game to almost every team in FBS probably. Like, that was a bottom 10 performance. Now, having said that, I watched some of the Charlotte game, and that also may have been a bottom 10 performance. So, look, this might be a really unpleasant pillow fight on Saturday. If Carolina doesn't look much better in that game, boy, oh boy, you got some trouble. I can sort of wrap my head around, like, the moment was so big, and TCU is a very good team, I think, that those things coalesced into what was a performance by Carolina that probably speaks volumes as to who they are, but also was probably the low end of what they're capable of.
Right.
So if they get more to the median of what they're capable of, they should beat the crud out of Charlotte. But, I don't know. It's funny, a lot of people that I talk to, like, first of all, the conversation about Carolina all offseason was, well, look at the schedule. Well, now I look at the schedule and say, I don't know how many of those games they can win, let alone how many games that they should win.
Right.
But, again, I remember a few years back when David Cutcliffe, who was beloved in Duke, losing to Charlotte was basically the end of the David Cutcliffe era in Durham. I mean, this is game 2 for Belichick, so I don't know that you can say the same. But, yeah, you cannot go there down to Charlotte and lose that game or even look bad. You have to look competent on Saturday or the wheels really, really come off.
Yeah, David Hale is joining us here. The conference schedule, which looked so easy, doesn't look as easy. Cal got a win on the road at a competent team, beating Oregon State. Virginia thumped Coastal Carolina. I know Syracuse didn't win, but I don't think Syracuse is bad by any stretch. They're up there. Wake Forest didn't look good. Duke certainly did after the first half, and NC State, who knows, that rivalry game could be crazy. But, yeah, it's not as easy. Let me just throw a couple of ACC things at you, David Hale from ESPN, at a David Hale joint. I want to start with Florida State's destruction of Alabama. I know this is being thrown around as what happened to Alabama, and certainly a lot of it was that. But I was stunned to see how dominant FSU was at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
How did you see that game? Is Florida State could they be good?
I think I am still a little skeptical on Florida State because they were good at one thing, and Alabama was so bad that they could not stop that one thing. So I wonder how much, if you expand that beyond the vacuum of that one game, what it looks like. I probably went into the season thinking FSU was a 7-5, 8-4 team. I probably now think they're 8-4, 9-3 team. I don't know that I've completely changed my opinion of FSU, but two things did really jump out to me. And you mentioned the first one, which is they were very, very good up front. And that was, to me, for all of the problems last year, and there were many, the offensive line, which was veteran, experienced, and a lot of holdovers from the previous year's 13-1 team, that was the biggest train wreck of last year, was that offensive line. No one position was more disappointing than that O-line. And it looked like a completely different, it is a completely different unit, but looked much better, much, much better, to a level of potentially being a dominant O-line. So, huge plus for Florida State there. And the other thing is a single play that stood out to me, which was the script had sort of flipped in the fourth quarter there, and Alabama had a lot going for it, and Florida State's facing a 4th and 1 deep in their own territory where any other coach in their right mind would have punted and played defense, and the way things are going, if it had been a year before, Alabama wins that game 10 times out of 10. But Mike Norvell, having lived through all of 2024 where that team showed zero resiliency, zero accountability, zero determination, Mike Norvell said, nah, we're going for it. And they went for it on a 4th and 1 from their own 35 and converted. And to me, it wasn't just that the play sealed the game for them. It was a statement of, we are not that team from last year. This is how we're going to do things this time around. And I think if you break down all of week 1 and say what was the single most important play of week 1, to me, that was it.
That's awesome. All right, now to the opposite of Mike Norvell, Mario Cristobal in Miami. It seemed to me that in the fourth quarter, Cristobal was trying to actively lose the game. He completely took the air out of the ball. I didn't understand why. It seemed like they were more interested in running clock. They ran the same plays over and over again that were unsuccessful. They were fortunate. Settled for a 48-yard field goal to go ahead with over a minute left. They were fortunate that Notre Dame didn't drag them into overtime. Is Miami good enough to overcome him?
Yeah, and not just settling for a 48-yard field goal, but from a kicker who was disastrous at FAU last year. Boy, oh boy, I'm sitting there texting with my colleague Andrea Adelson, who was at the game, and I'm like, they're going to blow this, aren't they? They're going to blow it. Because we've all seen this story play out before. Yeah. It was saved, ironically, because last year was doomed by the defense. It was saved by a tremendous defensive performance. Their defensive front, like Ruben Bain and Akeem Messador, were a problem for one of the best offensive lines in college football that Notre Dame has. But yeah, I mean, it's funny. I was talking to somebody about this weekend. Like, there's not a much better coach in the country at talent identification and acquisition as Mario Cristobal. But the games start, and it is just like a completely different story. And you'd think, knowing, hey, I've got the better team, I've got all of these guys that I spent all offseason scouting and paying money to and developing because I know they're good, I'd put some faith in them. But he didn't. You're exactly right. That was the most, like, clenched butt cheek fourth quarter I've seen in a long time. I mean, you go back to the Syracuse game last year that cost them a playoff berth. They kick a field goal and put the game in the hands of their terrible defense rather than giving Cam Ward a fourth down chance. Cam Ward, the greatest magician of last year that went first in the draft. It's like the level to which he does not trust his own guys, who he has identified as the best players he can get, is mind-boggling to me.
I'm with you. I think that Mario Cristobal should, when the game starts, he should go find a sports bar and watch it there and let everybody else take over. Finally, we got about a minute left with David Hale. Clemson, not quite back to Clemson, or was that more about LSU?
A little of both. I mean, LSU to me looked like a genuine potential national championship contender. Like that's a really good football team right there in a lot of areas. How they turned over that offensive line, that put 4 dudes in the draft last year and still looked good for the most part was I thought very impressive. A lot of it though was Clemson too. Like, I will say I was not the biggest beat the drum for Clemson guy this offseason. I thought you go back and look at last year, they got lucky in some games, and the ones they lost, they mostly lost pretty emphatically. And I thought there was still a lot of room that Clemson needed to grow. The lack of a running game, and frankly, what they did in the fourth quarter was the opposite of Mario. Their last 19 plays were all pass plays. Like, there's got to be more balance in your offense in a one-possession game than that. So there's just I am not writing off Clemson. I think there's still a strong argument they're the best team in the ACC, but it was not a well-coached game by any stretch. And I think some of the flaws in that roster, particularly once Antonio Williams went out early, were exposed pretty bad.
David Hale, No Flaws, ESPN ACC scribe at a David Hale joint on Twitter. My friend, I appreciate your time. I'll talk to you soon.
Always good time. Have a good one, guys.
You got it. David Hale here on the Adam Gold Show. I wanted to go through the league because we hadn't done that yet. I thought it really wasn't a bad opening weekend. I mean, you didn't want to see North Carolina get embarrassed, but it's clear that North Carolina is not going to be one of the best teams in this league. Schedule or otherwise. Clemson, I was disappointed. Miami, totally impressed. Florida State couldn't help but be impressed. I know what's going on in Alabama right now. The knives are already out for Kalen DeBoer, which we sort of predicted. We'll talk to Chip Patterson about all of these things tomorrow. All right, we have one-timers on the other side. You can still contribute. Go to YouTube. Go into the chat at the Adam Gold Show. You can watch the show if you can stomach that, and then give us your question, or you can hit up Victoria on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm there
at V_2_the_Ictoria.
Shout out to the people who noticed my bump song back.
Which was? Wasn't paying attention.
It's called Hard Times.
Oh, really? Oh, you could do it as a Run DMC.
Yeah,
I know, Run
right?
DMC track.
I might use that for Bryn.
There you go. That's right, Bryn. Oh, man. Bren Renner. We're going to talk to him next hour. One-timers next.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Adam Gold here from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. It is finally here. The National Football League is starting on Thursday. Dallas at Philadelphia. The defending champions will wheel out their Super Bowl trophy and taunt the Cowboys with it because Dallas is somewhat pathetic. By the way, the Eagles are almost a touchdown favorite at home, and there will be pain. FanDuel getting you ready for kickoff with a great new offer for new customers. Bet $5, win that bet, get $300 in bonus bets. That's right. Win a bet, get $300 of our money. FanDuel.com/AGS. AGS. Download the FanDuel app today. FanDuel.com/AGS. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
For North Carolina high school seniors, the countdown to college is on. And at CFNC, we've got all the resources and information needed to get you on campus next year. Take College Application Week, for example. Did you know you can apply for free at many North Carolina colleges from October 20th through October 26th? Sure can. Don't miss the opportunity to save some money applying to college. And for more help, visit cfnc.org/C2C.
Did you know? Atlantic hurricane season runs through November. From gathering necessary supplies to planning an evacuation route, now is the time to make sure you and your family are prepared. And if a storm damages our electric system, local public power providers are ready to respond and restore power quickly and safely. As a public power customer, you benefit from having an electricity provider that restores power faster than other providers do. Visit electricities.com for storm preparation tips and resources.
At North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, you're more than a policy, you're family. With offices in every county, we're close by when it matters most. Our local agents customize coverage to fit your life. And our award-winning claims team delivers fast, quality repairs. It's no surprise Forbes ranked us the #1 auto insurer in America. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
Now, all across North Carolina, it's Carolina Newsmakers. Each week, leaders from politics, education, business, and the arts join Don Curtis to share insights and ideas shaping our state. Listen on radio stations throughout North Carolina and on demand at carolinanewsmakers.com. Carolina Newsmakers is presented in part by the North Carolina Academy of Family Physicians, advancing family medicine in North Carolina since 1947.
Have you ever considered a career as a public power line worker? Public power line workers use a variety of specialized skills to build and maintain a locally owned and operated electric system. As a public power line worker, you can expect a career that allows you to work close to home, a safety record superior to other energy providers, and training and apprenticeship opportunities. Learn more about public power and careers in public power at electricities.com.
My name is Andrew Dotson. I'm a peer support specialist here at Phoenix Counseling Center. As a young man, 18 years old, I joined the military, went to Afghanistan in 2012, went through some hard situations, saw some things that were traumatizing. There's a number that I memorized, 105. That's the room number right around the corner. Room 105 was where I stayed last time I was a patient here, right before I got ready to really get sober. The first step in recovery is walking through the door and saying I need help.
Visit ncdhhs.gov/crisis services.
One Adam. Gold.
One Adam.
Gold.
Person in front of me in line had a box of wine.
Oh, yeah. I feel that person. If you are buying boxed wine on a Friday, that thing is open right now.
In the car.
Yeah. I don't even need it to cool down.
She jammed a big straw right through the top of the box
yeah,
in the
went
car.
to the gas station to get a cup of ice. Like, they don't even care.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. Bryn Renner, former North Carolina quarterback, next hour. Darin Gantt will join us in hour number 3. It is the first game week of the NFL season. Panthers will be in Jacksonville on Sunday as Bryce Young and Trevor Lawrence will try to christen the 2025 season with a win. We'll talk more NFL stuff a little bit later on, but right now it is Q&A time.
Okay, so first up, looking at our YouTube stream, we have what will be remembered longer, Bill Belichick at UNC or the Jordan Hudson saga?
All right. I'm going to answer the question seriously, okay? And seriously, I still believe that there is a good chance that there will be a positive feeling of the Bill Belichick era, which I don't believe will be 1 year. I believe will be a minimum of 3, given health, because he is in his 70s. So the answer to me is the Bill Belichick era.
Okay. Next up, also UNC related. After getting a taste of Bill Belichick, do you think the result will be any different than the same repetitive cycle of Mac Brown?
See, that was the thing that really got me, is that, first of all, Mac Brown, the notion on social media that Mac Brown would be sitting back laughing, because he's not. But what do we really view this Mac 2.0? What do we really think that was? They had 2 NFL quarterbacks. Didn't accomplish a lot with 2 NFL quarterbacks. So, like, they didn't do well enough with what they had. And it's not a knock. It's not easy. And he came back. He did a lot of good coming back simply to repair relationships. Carolina football needed that. The football wasn't so great. Sit.
We probably don't have enough time for
that's
anymore.
Fine. I apologize.
A 2-timer.
I could have gone longer with the answer. Look, it's just one game, no matter how bad it was, and it was bad. You couldn't have dreamt up a worse game if you were UNC. But it's only 1 of 12.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friend Gordon Miller, Miller Lending, Kildare Farm Road in Cary, the man who invented the no closing cost mortgage, which allows you to keep more of your own money because closing costs are expensive. Nobody likes to throw money away, light thousands of dollars on fire. We've all done it at some point, but you can avoid it, especially in the mortgage game, because here's what happens if you pay closing costs. You are banking on the fact that the rates will not come down over the next 8 years, because that's the break-even point. Closing cost, $4,000 or $5,000, save yourself about $50 a month. You do the math, 12 months a year, how many months? And if the rates drop over that time and you want to refi, you've wasted so much of that money. Don't waste money. It's yours. You need it. I need it. Give it to me. Miller Lending on Kildare Farm Road in Cary. An equal housing lender, NMLS ID 250-2146. Hey, it's Adam Gold, and as the Carolina Hurricanes shoot for their 8th consecutive playoff appearance, that's right, 8 in a row, that's not the goal, I should remind you. The goal is being, as Rod Brindamore likes to say, the last team standing. What do they need? Who will get them there? You know where you can find the answers on every episode of the Canes Corner podcast, live on YouTube after games, and wherever you get your podcast. Rate, subscribe, like, share, tell your friends.
What? New scratch-offs are out? That means new chances to become a North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club member.
Yeah, in the Winners Club, I'll reinvent myself. I won't go by just plain Todd. I'll go by Toddrick. I'll get a gold jacket, play my saxophone again. I'll stop and smell the flowers, call my mom more.
Ugh, wrap it up, Todd.
It's Toddrick.
This month's scratch-offs pack over $78 million in total prizes. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.76 to 4.98. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Listen to The Drive with Tim Donnelly afternoons from 3 to 6. And if you miss any part of the program, like and subscribe to The Drive podcast presented by Hempy's, North Carolina's premium hemp dispensary. Order at hempys.co by 9 p.m. for free same-day delivery.
Week 1 starts now, and every touchdown brings you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook. New customers, this one's for you. Bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, grab over $200 off NFL NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Your season starts now. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code TIMD. That's code TIMD with no spaces to get $300 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first bet of $5 or more. Plus, over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 877-185-543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus, North Carolina only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it.
That one back, that one going, gone!
Go to RitchieLaw.com.
That's RitchieLaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
You're listening to The Adam Gold Show.
Here's a pass on the right. Flats picked off. This is going to be a pick six. 10-5 touchdown. Touchdown TCU. Bud Clark took it to the house. Oh, my goodness. So TCU gets it right back. And they score a touchdown.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. The voice of Bill Rosinski, who, and I'm sure Panthers fans remember this, used to be the voice of the Panthers. Professionally, I met Bill back in 1988. My very first job out of college was as basically an editor with a national sports network. We used to call it Mutual Broadcasting back in the day. It's become Westwood One. And Bill was an afternoon anchor, as well as doing play-by-play and all that. And I remember that I screwed up and gave him a tape of something that was supposed to run, and there was nothing on it.
Oh, no.
Nothing. And Bill just kind of moved on. Well, nothing there. Let's move on to the next story.
Yeah, exactly.
Bill's a pro, man. Nothing but respect for Bill Rosinski. And he does a great job. He's a dynamite play-by-play guy. Dynamite. And a wonderful man, above and beyond that. But so he had the game last night. It was cool to see because I was actually in the car at the very beginning of the game. Mm-hmm. It was cool to hear Bill Rosinski. I think Chad Brown, former Colorado linebacker, former Pittsburgh Steeler. I didn't know where else he played. He played for probably a couple of other teams around the league. But Chad Brown was on the call as well, and everybody was hype. And Carolina goes out, and they go right down the field. And then, basically the rest of the game, TCU's offense versus UNC's defense was like poop through a goose.
Yeah.
Helpless. utterly helpless.
Yeah.
The rest of the way.
Unfortunately.
So, anyway, coming up in a little bit, we'll talk to Bren Renner. So I don't want to waste all of the opening part of this hour. Waste is not the right term. I know there are some people that want to hear more of it and more of it and more of it. I'll probably talk some big picture stuff here, but there's some other stories that we need to get to before we talk to Bren again. He'll come up in about a little less than 20 minutes. So let's run it back. All right. Okay. There was nothing good about it. Zero good about it. Carolina did get off to the good start, right? It was fun. It was a fun start. right down the field, 7-0. Oh, and then it was bad. And then, you were saying?
I was just going to say fun till it wasn't.
Yeah, by the way, I'm Adam. That's Victoria.
Yeah.
Didn't even introduce us because you get a new audience all the time. And by the way, we're on YouTube.
Yes.
So go to YouTube, search Adam Gold Show or 99.9 The Fan. You can watch the debacle. All right, so they get out of the first half. That was the pick six that made it 17-7. Carolina could not move the ball at all. They went over 2 hours between pass completions. Not even kidding. It's unbelievable. And then TCU is going to get the ball to start the second half. And me, I'm Mr. Positive, right? I take to Twitter. I kid you not. Carolina's lining up for the kickoff. And I take to Twitter, hey, huge defensive series for Carolina. If they can get off the field without giving up any points, get the ball back, score. All right, you feel good about yourself, blah, blah, blah. I hit send. The kickoff goes through the end zone. TCU lines up and does this.
You throw in the interception, pick six by Bud Clark. Comfortable 13-point lead. And in my opinion, the way that first half went, it's a big drive for the North Carolina defense.
That was the Capital One rewarding performance, and this is a rewarding run as Gavorian Barnes is out the gate, inside the 30, to the 10. Touchdown TCU, 75 yards and no flags.
And nobody touching him either.
Finished a sentence about how big of a drive this is for the North Carolina defense. Kendall Briles and company said it's a pretty big drive for us. We got a shot here. And by the way...
Yeah, by the way, many people know that Kirk Herbstreit's golden retriever passed away last year, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Remember the story at the end of last year? And everybody's very emotional about it. I'm emotional about dogs.
Mm-hmm.
So he got a new golden puppy.
Oh, good for him.
Peter put a headset on in the fourth quarter.
We needed Peter.
That's all you needed to know about the way the rest of the game went, is that they mic'd up Peter.
That would have kept more people in the stands if they could have just met Peter.
They mic'd up Peter. Adorable. Love.
Oh.
Gorgeous dog.
Love golden retrievers.
All right. Bigger picture about last night. I'm not going to belabor the point. Because I do think that, and I've been saying this over and over and over again, the most hyped season opener in the history of UNC's program. It's one of the most hyped seasons that I can ever recall. And I said this to Ben Volen, who writes for the Boston Globe, and was crazy enough to quote me in his article about Belichick. I think the hype will continue all season, even if Carolina's bad. It's not that people will be excited to watch UNC football, but there's a lot of rubberneckers. There's a lot of people who want to see the accident on the side of the road. There's a lot of people who don't like Bill Belichick. By the way, there's a rival fan base that will eat Carolina's losses up as much as they will enjoy their own wins.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, by the way, that is not a criticism. That is human nature.
Yeah.
Human nature. Me, as a Liverpool fan, Arsenal loses in my veins.
Yeah.
Which made Sunday even better. Anyway, so that's just the way it is. That is just human nature. So there will be eyeballs all over UNC all year long, regardless of their record. Okay? So there's an element of that. By the way, forget about this week at Charlotte. Maybe even next week home against Richmond. Central Florida, Clemson. They're going to be on TV a lot. You're going to see them a ton in big spots. So there's going to be a lot of people who have ample opportunity to dunk on UNC if it doesn't turn around.
Well, that's probably going to be half the reason why people watch, to see if there is a train wreck.
Yes.
After this last one.
There will be plenty of people to hate watch this team. Now, you don't hold the audience if you getting steamrolled all the time. So overall, it will impact ratings. I'm sure it impacted, the second half. Once that touchdown was scored, I don't know how many people stuck with it. Anyway, we certainly know the fans didn't, who were there, as they bailed in the middle of the third quarter. with all that said, I also think that there are a number of people who never thought it would work, were vocal about it, that looked at last night as proof. As I said at the very beginning, those people who never thought it would work, probably more likely right than wrong. And last night was confirmation, but proof. Oh man, you are proving what I thought all along. My only response to that, as bad as it looked, and it looked bad, it was just game one. It's quite possible that TCU, other than maybe Clemson, could be the best team on Carolina's schedule the rest of the season. Heck, maybe they're better than Clemson. I think all bets are off. We have no idea. But we were never going to know what UNC was going to be going into this season based on the turnover. All right, I want to get to a couple of other things before we talk to Bren Renner on the other side. I talked about the fact that the ACC did pretty well over the weekend. We had Florida State's utter destruction of Alabama. And a lot of that was because of the quarterback, Tommy Castellanos, who was at Boston College. Wait, BC, a former BC quarterback? But all summer long, Castellanos was talking the talk in advance of this game against Alabama. Backed it up.
It feels great. I relied on my teammates today and relied on my coaches, and they put us in position to go out there and execute and win. And we came together today, and we heard everything everybody said. We seen everything everybody said, and we just add that fire to the fuel. That fuel to the fire. And we went out there and just played ball together. We just went out there together and we executed. That's it.
Fire to the fuel probably works well as well. Look, Florida State was super impressive. And I know how it's being viewed nationally. It's being viewed as Alabama lost as opposed to Florida State winning. And that's okay. We have no idea what the meaning of that game is in week one. I will point this out. Alabama beat Georgia early in the season last year. Georgia made the playoff. Alabama didn't. I'm not suggesting Florida State will or won't make the playoff. We don't know. Alabama won't, will, don't know. But I said this to Chip Patterson, whether it was last week, 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. Kalen DeBoer's lead up to taking the Alabama job had nothing but success, and he crushed it at Washington. But Tuscaloosa isn't Seattle. The pressure, not just the pressure to win, the pressure to never lose at Alabama is a billion times more white hot than it is at Washington. Washington, they've been really good before. But if they're not really good in a given year, it's, all right, we'll get them next year. I'm not saying they're passive, but they're not nuclear. And they are nuclear at Alabama. He's not Nick Saban. Might be a brilliant coach. We'll find out. But that was an eye-opening, dominant performance that Florida State laid on the Crimson Tide. Miami beat Notre Dame in a lot of different ways Sunday night. That was an enjoyable game to watch. And if you had a vested interest in it, and because I am, admittedly, a fan of the ACC, I like Notre Dame. I'm a kind of a closet Notre Dame fan. I do not dislike the Irish at all. But I wanted Miami to win that game. Miami was in control of that game until the head coach took control of the game. Mario, your team, your quarterback looks good. You're doing all sorts of cool things. Why are you deflating the football and trying to hold on to a lead? Just play. It was as though the entire fourth quarter, Cristobal was trying to get to the finish line rather than plenty of game left. Just play it. Put your foot on their throat and go. Wouldn't do it. And I'm telling you, he begged to lose that game. Begged. My biggest fear with Miami is that they will not be able to overcome his in-game coaching. That is a very real thing. Georgia Tech gutted one out Friday against Colorado. I don't think Colorado's going to be that good. Georgia Tech turned it over a bunch. And, yeah, I think they turned it over a bunch. That's right, because Colorado fans were mad because they were 3-0. They had +3 in turnovers and lost the game.
Right.
I think Georgia Tech is legitimately good. That was a pretty squirrely way to start the season, but I think the Yellow Jackets could be really good. I shouldn't have skipped Clemson here, but I put Clemson and Virginia Tech into the same category here. I don't know if Virginia Tech's going to be really good, but I think South Carolina is. I like South Carolina this year, and I'm a big fan of watching Shane Beamer coach teams play. Lenora Sellers is legit. But I also think LSU is also to a different level from South Carolina. I think LSU is awesome. And Clemson, to me, doesn't feel like the Clemson that we were told we were going to get. Could that be LSU? Quite possibly. But for me, and I've been saying this for years, never been on Cade Klubnik, and I didn't see anything in this game that makes me think that Cade Klubnik or Clemson's idea offensively is any different than it's been the last few years. So they're going to have to prove to me, because I'm the one who needs proving to, they're going to have to prove it on the field before I really buy it. And I'm not necessarily buying. And I'm not sure when they're going to prove it. Right? Just not sure. They don't have an upper level game for a minute. Let me just see where Clemson's next real game is. Miami just proved how good they were to me. Clemson's next, at Georgia Tech. That'll tell us something, because I think Georgia Tech, and that's in week 3, because I think Georgia Tech is legitimately good. Duke, Louisville, SMU, Pitt, all untested. We will find out everything about the Blue Devils Saturday against Illinois. Illinois is good. I think Duke's good. That game will tell us a ton about them. Also, SMU Baylor on the weekend is going to be pretty good. All right, when we come back, Bren Renner, former North Carolina star quarterback, on the dud. Next.
Talking sports so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, Carolina Panthers fans, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan. For all the inside information on your team, join me and my co-host, WRAL TV's Chris Lee, for our podcast, Panthers Playbook. In every episode, we'll keep you up to date on your Panthers, and we'll do it with access only we can provide. Locker room insight, exclusive interviews, and in-depth looks at every Panthers game. Follow and subscribe to Panthers Playbook wherever you discover your favorite podcasts or watch on YouTube.
Hopefully you were able to enjoy Labor Day by not laboring and getting some motorcycle time in. I'm Victoria Vodnecker here from 99.9 The Fan for Law Tigers, and this weekend was absolutely gorgeous for grabbing some motorcycle therapy, and it's honestly only going to get better from here. But just like driving a vehicle, riding a motorcycle comes with the risk of getting into an accident too. And if you're ever in a wreck on your motorcycle, make sure to call my friends at Law Tigers first before calling your insurance company. At Law Tigers, they're just like us. They're riders, so they get the value of your bike, your gear, and the investment that you've made. Also, what it's like to go through an accident on your motorcycle. The insurance company just wants to pay you the least amount possible. So at Law Tigers, case evaluations are always free, and you're not going to pay a dime until your case is settled. Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
It's bow time. Fumble in the food on game day? Rookie move. But you know Bo can make your tailgate a winner, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Because the Carolina Legend has everything you're craving. We're talking crispy, juicy chicken loaded with real Southern flavor, fluffy scratch-made buttermilk biscuits, and all the fixings to feed your whole crew faster than you can say touchdown. Be the MVP this season and let Bojangles do the cooking. Order your tailgate today. It's Bo time.
Planning a tailgate? Bojangles has everything you need for the perfect tailgate, no matter how many fans you're trying to feed. There's the original tailgate, the super tailgate, and for a really big crowd, the jumbo tailgate special. And if you like your chicken off the bone, choose the Supreme's tailgate special. Interested in a career with Bojangles? Then stop by Bojangles Hiring Day, September 4th. Click bojanglesrdu.com/hiring day for more details.
Are you trapped in a high-rate mortgage, watching your hard-earned money vanish every month? Stop. Right now at Loan Pronto, they are delivering the lowest mortgage rates in 3 years. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Loan Pronto's rate reduction home loan program is a streamlined, low-cost way to slash your house payments by hundreds of dollars a month. Lock in a fixed rate as low as 4.99% APR and close in as little as 2 weeks. No appraisal needed in most cases. And here's the kicker. You can skip your next 2 house payments entirely. Don't wait. Rates this low won't last. Call Loan Pronto now for your free, no obligation quote. Loan Pronto is amazing. Imagine lower payments, more money in your pocket, and a fresh start with a better mortgage. Call 919-381-1760 or visit loanpronto.com to lock in your new low rate and skip those next 2 payments. Don't let the high rates hold you back. Call 919-381-1760 or go to loanpronto.com right now. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
See if you're a winner every night. Watch live lottery drawings on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news. That's right, Carolina Pick 3, Carolina Pick 4, and Carolina Cash 5 numbers every night on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news. See if you're a winner before you go off to bed. Get your lottery numbers live every night.
North Carolina Education Lottery.
Only on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news.
This is Adam Gold.
80-second mark, I scream in the booth. I screamed in the booth. Why the heck is he still on the ice?
Did you say it in Finnish?
I should have.
Yes.
No, he wouldn't. He curses in English.
He does.
All right, 2 seconds later, he scored.
Yes.
And I went, oh, that's why. That's why.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. So over the weekend, I was hyped for Monday night, for last night. I texted my friend Bryn Renner, former North Carolina star quarterback, and I said, what's it feel like in Chapel Hill? And he said, like Elvis is in town. So I thought, okay, we'll bump with Elvis when we talk to Bryn Renner this week. And that time is here. Bryn Renner, former Tar Heel quarterback, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. He will, for the rest of the season, be part of the radio broadcast, but he took last night off to take it all in. Are you glad you weren't on the air for it?
Adam, thanks for having me. I wish we were talking about a Carolina win, but as far as the atmosphere was concerned, I think, looking at the whole picture, I think it was the first time I actually saw the students and the fan base and the entire campus be electric. It was special. And, a lot of people have been saying it today on a lot of different broadcasts, especially ESPN, but the atmosphere, and Pat McAfee described it really, really well. For that first drive, it felt like it was like a college playoff atmosphere in that building. I mean, place was going nuts, and there wasn't an empty seat. And Gio returned the punt against NC State. That's my favorite play of Gio's career, my career of, that's the most electric it was, but it was like that from the opening kickoff. And that's really cool to see. Obviously, the product on the field that we'll discuss later wasn't what we all hoped for, but I think there are some positives that you can take away from last night's game.
Oh, there's no question. The anticipation for yesterday. I mean, ESPN told you that much. They'd never brought so many people to town for a Labor Day game, and we've had great Labor Day matchups in the past. We had Florida State and Miami opening up when Miami joined the league. Florida State and Miami opening up the season on Labor Day. We haven't had this kind of attention paid to it. I actually think it'll go on the rest of the year, and because I think that there's a number of people who either don't think it will work, don't want it to work for whatever reason, and I call them rubberneckers. Like rubberneckers, like you're looking at the accident. You want to find out what happened. I think that there's as much fascination for that as anything.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think there's really, if you look at it from a big picture, you can't really, predict how your team's going to respond when you haven't played anybody. That's why preseason games, I think, in the NFL are still so critical. And even when you can practice against opponents, it just gives you such an advantage because you know where you stand. It's like playing poker. You have no one else. You don't know what the other person has until you flip over the cards. So I think, it's fine not to overreact week one. And I remember we played LSU in a tight matchup in the Georgia Dome when Butch was there in 2000, I think that was 2010, and we had all those guys coming back. And we did not play well in the first half, but we came back and fought. And that was a really, team-defining moment for us. TJ went on to have a great rest of his career. And it was one of those games where I was like, okay, well, we have a good team. Well, now you get a chance, you got a quick turnaround to kind of flush us away, and you got to play Charlotte right away. So I think it's kind of good for us to kind of be like, okay, where do we stand? Where are we? Who can play and who can't? Can we get better from this? And obviously you can. And so, there was really two plays that stuck out to me when you look at the numbers is the obvious pick six that Gio had with 4 minutes left in the half. And it's a really, really tough throw to the field. And there was some things that he could have done better and probably not thrown that ball. He would want to have that back, obviously. And then you give up a 14-point swing with the first play of the second half going for 75 yards. And it's like that took the wind out of your sails because it's a 10-7 ball game and going into halftime. And I think everybody would be thrilled because it's a 9-win TCU team over there with a really, really good quarterback who showed he was 27 of 36 for 284. And he looked like an NFL player. So there's some good things, but those two negative plays really just crushed the entire momentum for the first half.
Bren Renner is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show at Bryn Renner on Twitter. By the way, I'm completely on board. Those two plays were, like, to me, there were 3 plays in the game, I call them moments, that really changed the game. The first one was the defensive pass interference on TCU's second drive, which I thought was a bad call. I thought, I didn't think it was really a catchable ball. Carolina had the same thing done to them, and it was allowed to stand. Again, I didn't think either of them were pass interference. For me, do you remember that play on the second drive?
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
Absolutely not. I did not think it was DPI at all. I think both those calls were very, kind of the referees getting their kind of feet wet in calling plays in live time. And I think that's happened multiple times. I'll never forget Ron Cherry told me he missed a holding call and it really cost us. And I'm like, well, you can't miss a holding call, but it happens. They're humans. I'll never forget this, Adam. I was like dumbfounded that he was honest. He goes, "That wasn't, I missed it," and I'm like, "This is ridiculous." But it happens. It's life. There's human nature, and so I think those were two calls that kind of changed the tide as well.
Yeah, and then you talk about the pick six, which maybe it was a bad decision, but it was also very, to me, severely underthrown. If he throws it where only the receiver can get it, at best it's batted down, but in this case it ends up being 6 the other way. And then first play out of half where, I don't know, I mean, you would know better than I. It just looked like the defense was easily blocked on the play because nobody laid a glove on the guy.
Yeah, and there was a couple times where the guy's walking in the end zone, and that's obviously concerning. I think, obviously the first game, and you saw it throughout college football all weekend, I don't think the quarterback play from the guys that we anointed before the season was all that special. Look at Arch, you look at, a couple guys that we were like, okay, well, these are guys that are – the only kid that played well, I thought, was Nussmeier in playing on the road at Clemson, and he's a good football player. But if you look at quarterback play as a whole, it takes a little bit to see different defenses too. And I know that just from playing, like you're going against your defense every single day from spring until training camp. You're like, oh, I'm the man. I can, I can throw it through everybody. And then you get humbled. You're like, oh, wow, they're actually playing it, cover 3 instead of, just quarters or whatever your defense plays every day. So it takes a little bit. And I think as quarterbacks get in the flow, you got to see, obviously they have the tablets on the sidelines now, and you can kind of get in the rhythm. And then defensively, the flip side is kind of like, okay, we haven't tackled another opponent, and like I said, you tackle twice, maybe you have 2 scrimmages throughout the course of training camp, but really it's really just a period. Maybe it's a block of 15 to 20 plays, but tackling in all of football now is really hard to do, just because of the physicality. You want to protect your players because it's going to be a long, grueling season that we seem to just keep on adding more and more games to, right? So in order to win the national championship, you got to play 15 games now. It's like, soon, Adam, we're just going to play 20 games and everyone's going to have to be a gladiator. So you really can't tackle that much. And so it's really just, the first games are always really tough. And I think I said it before the game on the call. I was like, if we can just get to the fourth quarter within a score, I think it's such a win for us. Obviously it didn't turn out that way, but I think there's positive momentum. And I think getting to Saturday at 8:00 when we play Charlotte, it's going to be a good time to do that.
Bren Renner is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. You came this close to calling this generation soft, Bren, but that's all right. But your larger point, and I'm glad you said, meanwhile, we're adding all these games. And I think Bill's probably, having to deal with that and adjust to how he goes through the process of preparing his team. And this will happen over time. I didn't feel like the problem was as much missed tackles as it was not being able to get off blocks and put themselves in position to make tackles as much as anything. What are your thoughts on Gio Lopez and Max Johnson? Max looked really good when he came in. Of course, different situation in the game. But what are your thoughts on the quarterback position?
Yeah, I always think it's good to have 2 quarterbacks. I've said that for a long time. It's a long, grueling season, like I just mentioned, and you're one play away from that guy going down, and you got to have 2. And I always remember when John Shoup was like, "Hey, you're one play away from being the CEO of this company," and I'm like, "Oh wow!" So that made me prepare. It made me prepare, and it's the sense of urgency to have 2, and I'm really proud of Max and his, almost 12-month recovery mentally and physically. And it's probably took a toll on him mentally more than physically. And just to see him come in there and complete some passes, yes, I understand what the score was, but to stand in the pocket, and he delivered a great throw and got hit in the face. And it's really hard to do that. And I'm really happy that he did that. But I think, as far as Gio's progression, he's still learning and growing. You guys watched me play. I threw terrible interceptions. I threw 4 picks against Rutgers, and everyone thought I was the worst quarterback in the entire world. So, I never give up on quarterbacks, Adam. I just never will do it because I know how hard the position is, and I know what he has inside of him that he can get better and learn from. And it takes some reps. It really takes a new continuity with new receivers, and you got to remember he wasn't here in the spring, so he didn't have those reps. So he really only had about 3 weeks, a 3-week body of work with the coaching staff, a 3-week to get the playbook. And I'm not making excuses for him. I think the reality of the picture for a young man who's learning and growing at a really hard position is you're going to need both these guys down the stretch. And, I really think it's you get Charlotte, you get Richmond, then you get a bye week, then you go play UCF. And it's like, okay, if we can get in that race and see who our quarterback is and see who our team is, then we have a chance. But it starts with one game. It starts with practice today. And yeah, I sound like a coach, but that's just the mindset you have to have because you got 11 more games left.
Well, you have weaned yourself off of coaching. Good for you, because that's a hard life, man. Especially at the college level. Bryn Renner is joining us here. You threw 64 touchdown passes, so I'm going to force you to give yourself a break for your career. I do want to circle back real quick because one of the things I want, one more question about quarterbacks, then I want to circle back to that 2010 team. The fact that Gio Lopez and Max Johnson are so different, is that good? Because I'm going to assume that both will play, whether it's by design or because it is a grueling season. Is that good that the offense really has to be very different for each player?
Yeah, I think there's benefits to both. I think there's obviously Gio is a little bit more athletic than Max, And that's obviously known, but they're both left-handed, so you don't have to, the bootlegs and the play action passes can kind of be the same for the same hashes, which is great. But I think, the dynamic that Gio provides in the running game, we didn't see last night, but I think he does have that. And I think you've got to get a feel for what the kid can do. It was the first time Freddie called plays for him. And I think that's kind of, something that has to get worked through as well. Hey, what's our identity as an offense? How is our offensive line? Can we hold up at the point of attack? Do we have to change things? And the best offensive coordinators and the best coaches that I've been around adapt the offense to the players that make plays. And I think that's the biggest thing that you have to find out, especially early in the season, is, okay, who are my playmakers? Who can I depend on third downs? And if you look at last night, Adam, we were 1 of 10 on third down. So, that's a big stat of 1 for 10, and especially in the first half. We held the ball for 27 minutes throughout the game, but it didn't feel like that because we were going 3 and out. And 1 of 10 is, you would like to be 50% on third down, ideally. That's what they say, and to have a chance to win. And we were 1 of 10. So I think if you could put Gio in a position to have a 3rd and 4 and be able to complete some short passes and get started early, I think that's great. Because you look at the first drive, he threw a great ball down the sideline, and then kind of let us down for a drive. Caleb Hood had a great run, and then we kind of got away from some things that once you're down 2 scores, you have to kind of start improvising. So I think there's really just too many unknowns to kind of figure out who we want to be and how we want to attack, and with the body of work that we have so far.
Bryn Renner joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Probably the last question, but I am curious because so much was said about, North Carolina's always been this as a program, like 7-4, 7-4, 7-5, 8-4, whatever. And I get it. I would say the same thing mostly about Oregon for years and years and years, and now we see what Oregon is. But I do recall a time where it looked like it was changing, and the only thing I can compare what the lead up to the game last night was that team in 2010, because that team had tons of future professionals on it. And we all know what happened and why it was derailed. But do you think that had, I guess, Marvin Austin not tweeted out rap lyrics, which ultimately was the tipping point in all of it, had that team not come under such scrutiny for things other than football, do you think they were about to usher in like a real era of UNC football?
I think that's the closest we've ever been, Adam, to having a real competitive, nationally contending football team. And it takes that recruiting class. It takes a Butch Davis. It takes a NFL mindset. It takes the rigorous. Honestly, that's why I came here, to change the course of North Carolina, football. And I was Butch Davis's first quarterback recruit. And, it was the NFL mindset. It was the same thing that, Coach Belichick's trying to build. And I think to do that, it takes some time. And I was telling my dad this morning, Butch started off, I think we had only 7 wins, maybe 8 wins, and they were competitive games. But, you have to get your recruits in. You have to get the belief of the team. And that 2010 team, we had 9 guys out of the 11 play in the NFL, and 7 of them got drafted. And then you look at, TJ played 7 years in the NFL. You had guys like, Jay Boyd was a top 5-star recruit. And we had athletic guys. Giovanni Bernard played 10 years in the league. So we've had the individual talent come through this university. And that's what I saw yesterday. I felt the atmosphere. I'm like, man, this could be, something so special. It could be a Clemson. It can be that ACC school that has that rich tradition, because we've had the Drake Mays, we've had the Sam Howells, we've had so many good individual talents, but we haven't won the ACC title since 1980. I do think we can get there, but that 2010 team, I think, when Butch had us rolling and we lost by, Zach Canalto dropped pass in the end zone against LSU, we were so close. And we were playing Patrick Peterson, and we still had our players out. And that's what was fascinating to me is the depth that we had. And so, but it took Butch 3 or 4 years to get that going. So, and I know Coach Belichick and Coach Lombardi and everybody at UNC wants it to happen, and they're working their tails off to do so.
Bryn Renner, what a gentleman. Appreciate your time. Sorry you had to go through that last night, but Brighter days ahead, my friend. Enjoy the game on Saturday at Charlotte. I know we will be talking to you often throughout the season, and hopefully we'll see each other soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, Adam. You're the best. Talk soon.
Bryn Renner. Yeah, he's the best. Level-headed. Look, it was bad. There's no other way to dress it up. It was a bad performance, but I say this about every sport. I'm gonna bring up hockey here for just a second. I apologize. We are going to start something today, next hour, because we are 20 days away from the start of the Hurricanes' preseason schedule, an actual game at Lenovo Center, I believe, against the Florida Panthers. So it's 3 weeks from yesterday. There are moments in games that completely flip the script. And sometimes it's stuff that would have happened anyway, and sometimes it isn't. I think in football you can generally tell when one side is more dominant than the other. And TCU was easily the more dominant team. But I do think, and let me just give you the hockey analogy real quick.
And it's the Lightning, the 22nd.
Oh, it's Tampa,
Mm-hmm.
not Florida. My fault.
The other Florida.
The other team in Florida. The other team that doesn't have state income tax. Yes, that's why they win. Not because of the Hall of Famers they have. Here's the thing about like moments. So I'm going to take you back to 2022. In the playoffs, the Hurricanes and the Boston Bruins. The Hurricanes crushed the Bruins in games 1 and 2 in Raleigh. Then that was the series where Andrei Svechnikov knocked Hampus Lindholm into another galaxy. Knocked him out of the series. I think that was that. I could be wrong. Either way, I might be wrong about that. Either way, it was 2022. Crushed the Bruins in that series. They're up 2-0. They go to Boston. They have a 1-0 lead. I believe it's early second period. Hurricanes are on a power play. They look clearly like the better team. Turnover at the blue line. Charlie Coyle goes the other way. Scores shorthanded. It's 1-1. Hurricanes aren't behind. It's tied 1-1. But that moment flipped the series. Suddenly, Carolina was back on their heels. Lost games 3 and 4 in Boston. Won game 5. Lost game 6. Needed Max Domi to touch the sun for a period, the first period of game 7, to win and escape a not very good Boston Bruins team. And that, of course, was the year that Carolina couldn't win on the road in the playoffs. Lost all 3 games against the Rangers. Looked like the better team. Lost all 3 games on the road, and then got Ranger power played in game 7 here in Raleigh. My point is that the moment of the shorthanded goal just changed the entire feel of that series. Hockey's very different than football. The margins in other sports are smaller. The margins in football are the largest in any other sport. But I do think that pass interference, the pick 6, the 3 most important plays of the game all went against Carolina. Probably because TCU is better. But all 3 of those plays went against UNC, and the result is the result. If they don't throw the flag, does Carolina get off the field again? I don't know. Maybe 7-0 with 2 good defensive series in a row. Maybe Carolina puts a field goal on the board, and it's 10. It's just a different feel if Gio Lopez doesn't make a terrible throw. Again, maybe it's just different. So, allow for those elements. Hopefully those will not show up in Charlotte, at least not, against, if you will, North Carolina. But ultimately, you have to win at least half of those moments in a game to win a game. And if you are not as good, and Carolina was not as good by a long stretch, you got to win more than half of those moments. And Carolina didn't win any of them after the first drive. Anyway, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll stretch. We will place bets. I won one and lost the rest. But at least we won one. Next.
From the heels.
Touchdown, Carolina.
To the canes.
She scores!
He covers it all. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Are you taking care of someone on Medicare? Navigating Medicare can be overwhelming. You're not alone. The NC Department of Insurance SHIP program can help you figure out what steps to take and when. SHIP counselors can answer your questions. Visit ncshiip.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212. SHIP provides free, unbiased help in all 100 counties.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
As the health director in Haywood County and a nurse here in North Carolina, I can tell you that the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline saves lives.
No matter your struggle, you are not alone. The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is free, private, and always available.
988 Lifeline counselors are ready 24/7 to speak with you, help you cope, and get you connected to the support that is right for you.
988, the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline.
Call, text, or chat 988 24/7. Brought to you by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services.
For North Carolina high school seniors, the countdown to college is on. And at CFNC, we've got all the resources and information needed to get you on campus next year. Take College Application Week, for example. Did you know you can apply for free at many North Carolina colleges from October 20th through October 26th? Sure can. Don't miss the opportunity to save some money applying to college. And for more help, visit cfnc.org/C2C.
Did you know Atlantic hurricane season runs through November? From gathering necessary supplies to planning an evacuation route, now is the time to make sure you and your family are prepared. And if a storm damages our electric system, local public power providers are ready to respond and restore power quickly and safely. As a public power customer, you benefit from having an electricity provider that restores power faster than other providers do. Visit electricities.com for storm preparation tips and resources.
At North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, you're more than a policy, you're family. With offices in every county, we're close by when it matters most. Our local agents customize coverage to fit your life. And our award-winning claims team delivers fast, quality repairs. It's no surprise Forbes ranked us the #1 auto insurer in America. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
Now, all across North Carolina, it's Carolina Newsmakers. Each week, leaders from politics, education, business, and the arts join Don Curtis to share insights and ideas shaping our state. Listen on radio stations throughout North Carolina and on demand at carolinanewsmakers.com. Carolina Newsmakers is presented in part by the North Carolina Academy of Family Physicians, advancing family medicine in North Carolina since 1947.
Have you ever considered a career as a public power line worker? Public power line workers use a variety of specialized skills to build and maintain a locally owned and operated electric system. As a public power line worker, you can expect a career that allows you to work close to home, a safety record superior to other energy providers, and training and apprenticeship opportunities. Learn more about public power and careers in public power at electricities.com.
Crisis Services helped me get back on track. They listened without judgment and made sure I had the support that I needed.
No matter what you're going through, there's someone who will listen. I wasn't alone, and neither are you.
Whatever your crisis, you have options.
Reaching out for help was the best decision I ever made. You can too.
It's okay to need support. No matter your crisis, you have options. Visit ncdhhs.gov/crisis services.
Gold. Gold.
Is he married to a person or just himself?
Ah!
Because I feel like that's very Aaron Rodgers-y of him to have the twist in there.
It's a very good question.
So, I don't know. We still don't know if it's a person.
Would he get down on one knee to ask himself over an ayahuasca?
Yes.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. We're going to wager coming up in just a couple of minutes. I gave you one winner out of 3. Should have been 2. We'll get to that later. Venus Williams plays today.
Oh, okay.
In doubles at the U.S. Open. She is 45
Good for her.
years old.
Still getting it.
In the quarterfinals of the U.S. Open women's doubles. And she is not close to being the oldest quarterfinalist in doubles.
Wow.
In U.S. Open history.
What's the oldest?
Martina Navratilova. Actually, I think she won doubles when she was 36 or 37, but played in the quarters at also at age 45, but played in the, I think, semifinals at age 49.
Wow. Okay.
Nearly 50. Won mixed doubles at nearly 50 years old at the U.S. Open. Like a Grand Slam mixed doubles title.
Wow.
At nearly 50 with Bob Ryan, who was just inducted into the Tennis Hall of Fame.
It's impressive.
Wild. Yes, very. Mm-hmm. All right, with that little nugget out of the way, we can stretch.
Okay, so I always love to do this when we start a new month, things that we can look forward to in said month. So, lots of stuff for September because it's basically almost spooky season. That's just my little nugget. I love spooky season.
Oh, Spirit of Halloween opened in downtown Raleigh.
Oh, wow. Okay.
On Glenwood Avenue.
All right.
Yep.
All right, then. I don't know if I will visit. Who knows? Maybe I'll visit, but I love spooky season. I'm ready to put all my Halloween stuff up. But in sports, obviously, our NFL season kicks off this Thursday with the Eagles and the Cowboys. Then we have the Chiefs and the Chargers that play in Brazil on Friday.
Yep.
So that'll be interesting. Also, lots of college football, of course. The U.S. Open that you mentioned runs through this Sunday. And I know you'll probably be watching this. The Ryder Cup starts the 26th.
I might be watching that. I might tune in for that.
If I were a betting person, which I am, I would say so too.
Yeah, I've already got we already have a future on that. Europe at plus 150.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, there you go. See, you're already prepared. Also, if you like movies, there's a Spinal Tap that comes out September 12th. And I know there's a lot of like Colin Farrell and Margot Robbie fans, so a big, bold, beautiful journey, whatever that is the 19th. Now, if you like TV, lots going on. The VMAs, back when they had videos, I don't really know what they're awarding, but the VMAs are Sunday.
Well, they still have music videos. You just can't watch them on
TV.
MTV.
On the music video channel.
Right.
There's that. The Great British Bake Off is on Netflix Friday. I know some people in the building love that show. I don't, but it's fine. To each their own. Now, I'm very curious about this one. I love The Office. Literally my favorite show ever. And they're making a spinoff called The Paper.
Oh, okay. That's a spinoff of The Office. I've seen the previews of that.
I have not. And
I've never seen an episode of The Office.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I know. Look, I'm not even arguing. I understand. It's one of the greatest shows of all time. I get it. Just never seen it.
You also have to like the humor too. But
I'm sure I do.
That's okay because I had never seen shows like Parks and Rec before until friends guilt tripped me into doing it. It's just once I don't know, I'm just such a big Office fan. It's difficult. So I'll definitely be tuning into that. Also, we've got the Emmys on the 14th. And the morning show, I've heard good things about. Don't know, but that's coming back on the 17th. Also, the 37th season of The Simpsons. What? They're probably going to predict some more life things, apparently. So, yeah. And then we've got also fall. Even though yesterday was a lot of people's unofficial end of summer, the real day that kicks off fall is September 22nd, which is a Monday. And we have Oktoberfest, which is 2 days before the official fall date. So drink your pumpkin beers.
I've already seen the commercials for pumpkin spice lattes.
Oh,
Get
man,
out of here. By the way,
know.
pumpkin beer has been in the supermarkets for over a month.
Has it?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Throw it all in the trash.
Oh, wow.
All of it. Throw it in the garbage.
See, I'm such a pumpkin nerd. I don't like all of it, but I will try it. So I have not seen this in the stores, but
It all. Ugh.
you know what you can't get in stores? Are great bits.
Place your bets, place your bets. Here. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me. I owe you one.
All right. I gave you the Georgia Tech minus the points under to cover. It did. It was touch and go there for a while, but it hit. I should have been right on Manchester United and Burnley. I picked draw, and that went basically right before the end of regular time, and United drew a penalty, which was completely unnecessary. It was the right call, but it was an unnecessary maneuver by Burnley, and United won it from the spot. But I feel like I was right, but that's gambling. So 1 out of 3.
Yeah. Well, hey, my app bet went through.
There you go.
And I guess technically my Tigers bet, if people
Yeah, that's
remember
right.
that.
Just Tigers.
Just the Tigers. Took the Tigers in the over. But today, back on the mound, let's go Cubbies. Showed us pitching today, so give me my Cubs to beat the Braves. And I'll take the over 8.5 plus 190.
All right, Mets are in Detroit. Second game of a series there. It is Nolan McClain Day. Shouts to Garner High School. Give me the Mets and under 8.5. It's plus 237.
Okay, well, I am obligated to go against the White Sox because I'm a Cubs fan. So give me the Minnesota Twins at home to beat the White Sox, hopefully by a lot. So Twins over 9.5 plus 220.
All right, Venus Williams and Layla Fernandez in doubles against Taylor Townsend and whoever Taylor Townsend's playing with. Give me Venus and her new BFF at plus 420, and I'm going to take a flyer on Taylor Fritz to beat Novak Djokovic tonight, plus 160.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Adam Gold here for my friend Gordon Miller, Miller Lending, Kildare Farm Road in Cary. Now that the Labor Day holiday is behind us and we are fully into the fall, why don't we fall into thousands of our own dollars staying in our own pockets, in our own account, under the mattress, wherever you keep thousands of your own dollars? Don't pay closing costs. Miller Lending, Gordon Miller invented the no closing cost mortgage back in 1987. Brought it to the Triangle in 1996. I'm an 11-time customer, have never paid closing cost. I have saved nearly $50,000 either with home purchases or refinances. And the last time I refied, I lowered my monthly payment by over $300. You can too. MillerLending.com. Great website. You should check it out. Miller Lending, an equal housing lender, NMLS ID 250-2146.
Pack Therapy is in session, thanks to First Horizon Bank. It's Tim Donnelly from 99.9 The Fan, alongside legendary Wolfpack play caller Mike Glennon.
Every episode of Pack Therapy is your chance to get dialed in with inside information on your team.
We'll set you up for every Wolfpack game all season long.
And we'll break down every contest, what went right and what could have worked better.
Plus, special guests to keep Wolfpack hope alive.
Follow and subscribe to Pack Therapy wherever you discover your favorite podcasts and watch every episode on YouTube.
Lenovo is celebrating 20 years of calling the Triangle home and empowering local education partners, helping them foster learning opportunities that'll inspire next-generation innovators. At Lenovo, we're shaping today and tomorrow using smarter technology for all.
Joining us on this episode are real Spectrum customers, Monique and Greg. We hear your family is a big fan of Spectrum.
Family of 4, we have about 18 devices last time I counted.
2 teams require a lot of speed. Everything they do is online.
There's gaming, there's streaming. Spectrum is perfect for us. I mean, it just seamlessly connects all our devices with lightning speed.
Sounds like Spectrum is really committed to keeping you connected.
It's amazing.
Week 1 starts now, and every touchdown brings you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook. New customers, this one's for you. Bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, grab over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Your season starts now. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code TIMD. That's code TIMD with no spaces to get $300 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first bet of $5 or more. Plus, over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 877-185-543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus, North Carolina only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer.
What? New scratch-offs are out? That means new chances to become a North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club member.
Yeah, in the Winners Club, I'll reinvent myself. I won't go by just plain Todd. I'll go by Toddrick. I'll get a gold jacket, play my saxophone again. I'll stop and smell the flowers, call my mom more.
Ugh, wrap it up, Todd.
It's Toddrick.
This month's scratch-offs pack over $78 million in total prizes. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.76 to 4.98. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Workers' comp can be tricky, but my law firm will be on top of all the complicated paperwork and sneaky deadlines so that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. If you've been hurt on the job, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
You know, we wore the green helmets today for the 20th anniversary of Katrina. I'm going to say one thing. I'm not trying to take a shot, but we requested to wear white jerseys because that's what that team wore. It got denied by the other team. That's their prerogative. But when you show disrespect to the city of New Orleans, that's what's going to happen to you. You're going to run into a team like this. They had a chip on their shoulder because I wanted them to wear the same exact uniform that team wore 20 years ago. Request got denied. We might have used that for a little bit of motivation to represent the city. So don't disrespect New Orleans ever.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. It was John Sumrall, the head coach at Tulane. I am not a believer in the phrase, you learn something new every day. I'm just not. I think we all go through days, more often than not actually, where we don't learn anything new that we didn't already know.
Stay the same.
But when I heard that clip, which I believe was on Saturday night, I learned something new. That the home team needs to get permission from the road team?
Yeah, I was not aware of that.
I mean, Tulane was at home.
Yeah.
Tulane can say, hey, we're wearing white.
Yeah.
You wear whatever the heck you want.
You would think.
That would be my guess.
Makes sense.
But apparently, nope, we need to ask. And Northwestern went, no. Really?
Wow.
Did anybody tell them the reason? I mean, seriously, if Northwestern went, oh, you want to wear white at home because it's the anniversary of Katrina, one of the truly great natural disasters that in many ways is still impacting a fantastic American city. If they had known and still went, nah, really? So I what?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I don't know.
Anyway, we've already talked about coaches kind of drumming up disrespect. Again, I'm not saying what's right, what's wrong, what's true, what's not. But if that's the case, shame on you, Northwestern. That's awful. Anyway, that was John Summerall, and Tulane won the game. Tulane, good.
Yeah, they didn't need the motivation.
Well, maybe they did.
Maybe that motivated them more than the jerseys.
Yeah. So, and Duke will play at Tulane in a few weeks. The Blue Devils will host Illinois on Saturday. Real football.
Mm-hmm.
Real football. All right, speaking of real football, Darin Gantt will join us in less than 15 minutes, Panthers.com. We will ask the old guy in advance of the opener coming up next Sunday at Jacksonville. Right now, sound.
The wall of sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
All right, we'll start in Chapel Hill after the debacle of a 48-14 TCU win over UNC. Bill Belichick to the podium.
Well, it was a great atmosphere here for the game tonight. Fans had tremendous energy the whole walk, and we played competitively, but then just couldn't sustain it. So, obviously, we have a lot of work to do. We need to do a better job all the way around, coaching, playing, all three phases of the game. Just wasn't up to what it needs to be, and I know we're a lot better than that. So we'll need to work on those things and show it on Saturday on a quick turnaround. But give TCU credit; they came in and did a good job, and they were clearly the better team tonight. They deserved to win, and they did it decisively.
By the way, did he say the fans had tremendous injury?
I know. I feel like that was a Freudian slip.
I mean, find a lie.
Yeah. Hurt my brain to watch that.
They couldn't get out of there fast enough.
No.
All right, what do you take away from that, Coach?
Yeah, look, they just outplayed us. They outcoached us. I mean, they were just better than we were tonight. That's all there was to it. They controlled both sides of the line of scrimmage. Their skilled players played well, and they did a lot more things right than we did. So, give them credit for being the better team. They certainly deserve it.
All right. On Get Up this morning, Mike Greenberg, the host, has Greg McElroy, one of ESPN's analysts, and Heather Dinich, college football national reporter, on, and they're discussing the UNC loss.
Well, we use a question all the time. Bad game or bad sign?
Mm-hmm.
Was this a bad game or a bad sign for Bill Belichick in Carolina last night?
Both. Bad game and bad sign. This is not going to get much easier. The good news is their schedule's somewhat manageable, but kind of like Sonny Dykes just referenced, every single college coach feels like they're auditioning when they get a chance to play against Bill Belichick. For a long time, the NFL has kind of looked down their nose at college coaches at some points, not all, not across the board, but they look down their nose on scheme. Oh, that won't work up here. Oh, you can't do that in the league. Oh, it's not going to be like that if you get to the show against real players. I think when you look at a lot of these college coaches, they're looking at Bill Belichick as kind of a sample for the NFL. And if we can take it to him, it proves that my system works at the next level. And that right now, amongst many college coaches, is where they want to go, because the NFL lifestyle is a lot more manageable than the college lifestyle right now. They don't have the players. They didn't make the adjustments. They struggled at quarterback until Max Johnson came off the bench at the end of the game. This is not going to get a whole lot better. And guess what? They got Clemson coming to town in a couple weeks, and Clemson has to kind of run a fine line down the stretch. So they got a lot of things to iron out. But hey, who's done it better in his career than Bill Belichick? Hopefully he can find some answers.
Heather, final word.
I don't know that they're going to find many answers. ESPN's FPI says they're going to win 4 games this year.
4. All right, real quick, I want to go. That's wild. I want to go back to what Greg McElroy said. I think he is right and wrong. The first part, he is right. It was not only a bad game, but it was a bad sign. But it ain't a bad sign because the coaches are like, we're going to prove to you that we can. Look, it's a bad sign because it looked like North Carolina doesn't have the personnel to handle good football teams. That's why it was a bad sign to me. Coaches are going to try extra hard to game plan and call better plays because they want to beat Bill Belichick? Really? Yeah. Sorry. I don't buy that. All right. Chris Canty on Sportsmanlike on ESPN Radio. He has things to say about Bill.
Resources won't continue to flow into the program if they keep losing in that way. At some point, beyond all of the bluster, beyond all of the hype, there's got to be something substantive. And last night, you didn't have a whole lot of things to hang your hat on. Usually, even when teams lose a game, you can see some semblance of an identity that they're trying to forge. What's the identity for Carolina? I'm surprised that they showed so poorly after all of the turnover that we've seen on this roster. And we know in college football, it's easier to turn over a roster at that level than it is in the NFL. Carolina had 70 new players from a year ago. 70. They had 30 players from high school, and they had 40 players from the transfer portal. And that's the best you got?
All right. And this is where Chris Canty, unfortunately, shows his lack of depth on this particular topic. And whether that sounds like a slam or not, I think it is a reality. And I am not the authority on this either, because I don't know. But I do know people who do. And David Hale said it to us earlier today, and Chip Patterson said it to us repeatedly through the summer. And we talk to Chip tomorrow. The talent available in the transfer portal this go-round was not in any way, shape, or form representative of what it has been in the last several years. And therein lies the problem when you are taking 40 transfers. There just aren't as many high-level players. And there were 30 players who weren't in the spring game. Right? 30 players who weren't in the spring game who are on this team. So there's a lot of things working against UNC initially. We'll see how they improve over the next couple of weeks. But I think it's just to go back to what Greg McElroy said, I think it's a bad sign that they just looked completely overwhelmed. All right, one more thing, and then we'll break, and Darin Gantt will join us. The highest profile game of the week wasn't necessarily Miami Notre Dame or Clemson LSU. It was number 1 Texas playing at number 3 Ohio State. Matt Patricia is the Matt Patricia, pencil behind the ear and all, is the defensive coordinator for the Buckeyes, and he made Arch Manning's life miserable, according to Dan Orlovsky.
Arch Manning and Sark got Bill Belichicked. Arch will not see another defense that is as sophisticated, as complicated, as much they changed pre-snap to post-snap. I'm not telling America that Arch didn't have some misses. Of course he had some misses. Mechanically, he got worse as the game went on. That game, in specific to Arch, went the way it did because of Matt Patricia for Ohio State and that Ohio State secondary.
Ohio State's got a great defense. Matt Patricia knows how to coordinate defenses. At least he did when he wasn't a head coach. And I'm not, who knows? I mean, their defensive coordinator, whose name escapes me, of last year when they won the national championship, is now at Penn State. So, but there's personnel. The bones of a good defense are there. And yeah, there was a lot of hype over Arch Manning. Week 1. It's just week 1. When we come back, it is now week 1. Let's breathe in the optimism of the Panthers' trip to Jacksonville with Darin Gantt. Next.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
We are knocking on the door of the regular season for the Carolina Panthers, and there are still so many questions on the defensive depth chart. The depth the second unit. What happens if someone gets hurt? For the Carolina Panthers defense is the type of question where the answers are harrowing. You don't want to see them. It's like the end of a horror movie. Just roll credits.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
We may not have a lot of summer left, but we are only just getting started with riding season. I'm Victoria Vodnecker here from 99.9 The Fan for Law Tigers, and I know a lot of people who ride all year long, but for me personally, fall is my absolute favorite time to be on the motorcycle. The days might start to get shorter, but the air is different, Mother Nature looks different, but one thing that never changes are distracted drivers. And as a rider, you already know how to prepare yourself for the adventure, but it's also important to prepare yourself for the what ifs too. And if you are ever in an accident on your motorcycle, always remember to call Law Tigers first before calling your insurance company. At Law Tigers, they're riders too, so they get it. They know the value of your bike, your gear, the investment that you've made, and what it's like to go through an accident. Case evaluations are always free, and you're not going to pay a dime until your case is settled. Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
You worked hard for your 401k, but if you've left your job, your money might be sitting in the wrong hands. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and it's very possible that the 401k that you have had for years has hidden fees and limited investment choices. But if you're no longer with the company, that 401k may be at the mercy of your former employer. All of these things could be costing you thousands. Rolling over your 401k into an IRA can provide better investment options that align with your long-term goals. At Trajan Wealth, we're fiduciary advisors that are held to a higher standard with no hidden agenda and no hidden fees. Don't let your retirement dollars sit in an old plan, and don't roll it over to your new plan without consulting Trajan Wealth first. Call Trajan today, 919-200-4000. That's 919-200-4000.
Advisory services are offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
This is Dr. Craig McGiffin with Raleigh Weight Loss Center. Are you frustrated with those trendy weight loss shots? Whether you've hit a plateau, can't handle the side effects, or watch the pounds creep back after stopping, there's a better way. Our program has helped over 70,000 people lose up to 10 to 20% of their body weight in just 8 weeks, without expensive injections or uncomfortable side effects. Our doctor-developed program costs significantly less and tends to work much faster. Ready for real, lasting results? Visit RaleighWeightLossCenter.com now to schedule your free consultation.
Hey, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan for Raleigh Weight Loss Center. I can say through the program at Raleigh Weight Loss Center, been doing it for just over a month, I'm approaching 30 pounds down. That's right, 30 pounds down, thanks to Raleigh Weight Loss Center and their program. You got to give them a call, 919-897-7506, or visit them online, RaleighWeightLossCenter.com. Again, 919-897-7506. Results may vary.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Turn things all the way up and find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy.
This is Adam Gold.
The American Cornhole League. I don't know if you can wager on it. Let me go to FanDuel and find out if you can wager on it.
I think I read you can get a scholarship. Kids in high school can actually get scholarships for cornholing. Who knows? I don't know what the technical term is.
I'm just not going to say anything.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. I don't see a line for cornhole.
Oh, man, what a missed opportunity.
Can bet on darts.
What?
Oh, yeah.
If you could do that
darts
for darts.
is huge in England.
Oh, yeah.
Huge
yeah.
in the UK.
Yeah. I like to play
darts. So I'm sure Darin Gantt, our friend, Panthers.com, I'm sure he fancies a good triple 20. How are you?
I am doing well. We always played in college, and one of the house rules in Boone was that if you hit a wire and caught it before it hit the ground, you got to throw it again.
Really?
So it added an element of danger that I think it needed.
That is
or
very
maybe
good.
It spoke to what we were doing in Boone on weeknights when we should have been studying.
We also had a dartboard in my dorm room, and it cost us the security deposit because invariably people kept missing the board and hitting this like the cinder block wall.
No question. I mean, you can really do some damage to a house a little bit at a time.
No question about that. My buddy who kept doing wing tactic was a little bit reckless with the darts. All right, let's get to the Panthers, who will open up Sunday in Jacksonville. I do want to start because you and I have not spoken since the trade, and I'm not going to ask you to editorialize whether or not it was a good trade or a bad trade. It was a trade. My guess is that it was probably the emergence of Jalen Coker, and we'll talk about him, that allowed the Panthers the freedom to make this trade because they needed to get Coker on the field. But what are your thoughts on Thielen back to Minnesota?
I think if you take the names and the feelings and everything out of it, you just kind of say, okay, here's a 35-year-old receiver, 1 year left on his contract, who wanted to go home apparently, and getting a fourth-round pick for that and getting out from under a pretty significant salary doesn't seem like a terrible bit of business to me, especially when you got a couple of first-round picks in reserve, especially when you've got a guy in Jalen Coker who, they had slotted into that slot position and gives you a bigger body there. And, Jalen did a lot of good work last year, so I can kind of understand. I mean, there were a lot of people, as we talked about during training camp, more receivers than they knew what to do with, was trying to figure out who was coming off the roster. And I think because it was a deep room, there was an opportunity to get some value in the future. I mean, obviously the injury to Coker a couple days later complicated a lot of that, and it was something nobody could bank on. And, it's fortunate in a way that they've got Hunter Renfrow able to come back in now that he finally got his phone out of his daughter's hands so he could answer the phone and keep her from watching cartoons and actually receive a contract. So I think we took a circuitous path to get there, but I think if you would have gone through the entire offseason and said, hey, your receiving core is 2 first-round picks, Jalen Coker and Hunter Renfrow, who's back from a year out of the league, I think people would have been pretty intrigued by that.
Oh, I'm 100% on board with that. It does sound like there's more of a story there, and I'm sure people can see it and read it at Panthers.com. But I found it curious after the trade of Thielen that the Panthers went in not for Renfrow, but for Dalvion, and I'm sure I'm not pronouncing his name right, Campbell, a former Los Angeles Chargers wide receiver, rather than right away to Hunter Renfrow. They only went back for Renfrow after the Coker injury. So walk me through, without giving too much away of your stories, walk me through how that whole thing happened.
Well, I mean, Hunter Renfrow himself put it fairly simply. He was trying to decide if he wanted to do this or not. This was not he might go play for the 49ers or he might go play for the Eagles or anybody else in the league. He was trying to decide if he wanted to play football because his wife's pregnant. They're expecting another daughter soon, and he had to decide at 29 years old, coming off a year out of the league with the autoimmune illness that kept him from being able to perform. They had to decide if they wanted to do this, and I think that was more of a part of it than his role with the Panthers or anything like that at that moment, because they were up front. They wanted him back. I mean, he struggled a little bit for a moment with that hamstring injury in the middle of training camp. But after that, they were pretty clear with him. We want you around. We want to get you right and get you back to what you looked like that first part of training camp when he was cooking people. I feel bad in a way for poor Trayvon Merrick, who's a really good safety, really good in the box, is here to be an enforcer on run defense. He's been having to do one-on-ones against Hunter Renfrow in a drill that is designed for the receiver to look better than the defensive back. And he's been doing that with Hunter Renfrow in 2 cities now. And when Hunter's well, he's just getting cooked through no fault of his own. So Hunter can still, when he's well, make a lot of plays, and I think they envision that.
It's funny when you mention the fact that Hunter Renfrow is still just 29. I realize he's had some health issues, and a year away from the sport is certainly a challenge, but my gosh, I mean, if he comes back and he's anything like what he was, earlier in his career, man, the Panthers receiving core, when they get Coker back, is just absolutely going to be loaded. Then you've got the versatility and the dynamic playability of Jimmy Horn, and they must like Bryson Tremaine too, right?
Yeah, I mean, Bryson Tremaine's a big body. He's a guy who's probably going to find an immediate role on special teams just because they're looking for some guys to do some of that stuff. But again, you mentioned Daylevon Campbell. I mean, he's more of a developmental guy, but he's a guy who averaged 19 and change per reception in the preseason. So, he's a big body who can move, and they're going to give him a shot. We'll see how it goes. But, yeah, that is again, say what you want about any of the moves made, but you've got a couple of guys in there, or you've got 3 guys in their first 2 years in the league who give you a lot of opportunity, not just in 25, but also in 26, 27, 28.
Darin Gantt, Panthers.com, joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. A few weeks ago, we weren't sure about the health of the offensive line. We had injuries to both Damian Lewis and Robert Hunt. Both of those guys ended up coming right back to the lineup without a problem. And it looks, I know we have Ike Ekwonu who has had an appendectomy. I don't know what his status is for Sunday, but for the most part, looks like it's a pretty healthy outfit.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part. And again, Ike's going to be day-to-day. We'll see. I mean, other players have come back from that surgery in as little as 8 days. Now, every appendix is different. I think John Fox said that one time. No, I mean, the reality is this was a serious medical situation. Ike is feeling better now. We'll see when he's able to get back on the practice field. That injury report will be out on Panthers.com tomorrow afternoon, and you can read all about it then. But I think the line, I mean, we're assuming this is going to be a short-term absence, if any absence at all. And so I think having those top 9 guys from last year's line, which was pretty good, back intact, now when you layer in the Taylor Moton extension, you're going to have these guys, most of them, for the next 2 years. So through the end of the 26th season, I mean, that's a pretty good place to start, knowing you've got those guys locked up for a while.
Darin Gantt is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Outside linebacker, edge rusher, whatever we want to call him. Right now, depth charts would show who is it? Patrick Jones,
Pat Jones and DJ Wonnum ahead of the rookies.
Yeah, but talk to me about the rookies. And we know Nick Scouton had the health scare in Houston. But talk to me about those 2 players and how they might push the guys in front of them.
Well, I think they're different kinds of players. I mean, Pat Jones and DJ Wonnum, play a big man's game. They've got the ability to set edges and be competent run defenders. Princely Manuelin is a straight pass rusher. I mean, he's going to get a lot of third down work simply because he's got traits that some of these other guys don't have. He has unique speed, the ability to get around a corner, and continue to accelerate through a corner. I think the football guys call that bend. That's some of that jargon we love to use this time of year. But if Nick Scouton's back and able, he's another one. He's kind of more in the Wonnum Pat Jones mold in that he's a bigger body. He's a strong dude playing at about 265. And I think it's an interesting mix of dudes. There might not be one 10-sack guy among them, but there's probably 3 or 4 6 to 8 sack guys. And if they can kind of keep that consistent pressure from a lot of different angles, I think that's going to help that defense as a whole. I mean, that's obviously going to be the thing that tells the story of this season, at least for the first little bit, is how much improvement they can find over there. But regardless who's rushing on whatever down it happens to be, they've got a healthy Derek Brown in front of them.
Yep.
And we saw a 3-snap sample size of Derek Brown during the preseason. and the mighty Houston Texans went 3-and-out. So I think having Derek back and bringing in a Bobby Brown and a Turk Wharton who can rush from inside up front is going to make the entire defense better, kind of independent of what those pass rushers do individually.
Darin Gantt is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Is there a position that you're, I don't know if concerned is the right word, but if you had to circle one position group that you were like, we could use a little bit more, what would it be?
I mean, I think anybody can take a look at this roster and know that they're not particularly deep and experienced options at safety and inside linebacker. I mean, that's pretty apparent. I think the other one, and I don't want to say it's a concern because Ryan Fitzgerald's got a big leg, but kicker, when you go into a season with an undrafted rookie kicker and you anticipate you might be involved in some close games, I think that's one to keep an eye on because he kicked well during the preseason. But all those things, I think the reality is this team's still very much under construction. They're trying to put in a lot of parts. I think, again, going back to those defensive linemen, if they can do for the defensive front seven this year what they did to the offensive line last year and create that kind of improvement, I think that's where you can see the Carolina Panthers make a move this year simply because there's so much room for growth in that area. So it'll be interesting to see how all that comes together. But, yeah, I mean, linebacker, safety, those are the two obvious ones as you look at the team, and that's just based on numbers and what they've got. I mean, they've got, Trayvon Merrick, again, who's really good at his job. But then other than that, you're kind of mixing and matching Nick Scott, who's a veteran, knows the defense, and a couple of young guys in Ransom and Richardson, who each have their own traits. I mean, Devontae Richardson, all he's done when he's been on the field is show up around footballs, and Ransom is a guy who we saw play at a pretty high level for Ohio State, and he's a physical guy. So they're going to mix and match those guys based on situations. I think it's reasonable to expect you're going to see all four of them at some point.
Darin Gantt, Panthers.com. Before we say goodbye, and this will be the last time we speak until the opener on Sunday, just curious your thoughts about what are reasonable expectations, not only for Sunday, but given decent health. They have the same odds at FanDuel to make the playoffs as the Dallas Cowboys. They're both plus 270. Which is almost 3-1. But what are reasonable expectations for this team?
I think a reasonable expectation is better. I think you got to remember this is a team that 2 years ago won a couple of games, and last year went from 2 to 5. So I think if you get to 7, 8, dare I say, dare 9. I don't know. I think more than 5 is a reasonable expectation because they are still building this thing out. This is not a complete roster yet, but the things they do well, they're pretty deep in. I mean, we talked about that offensive line earlier. You go and you layer in a Rico Dowdle to go with Chuba Hubbard, so you got 2,000-yard backs in the backfield to choose from. I think they've got the opportunity to be in games that if they make those improvements on defense, you don't have to do like John Fox and Dan Morgan did in the early 2000s and go from 31st to 2nd in 1 year.
Right.
You get to the middle of the pack, and this team's going to win more games just based on the way they played last year.
I agree with you. If they can get to middle of the pack defensively, they'll be a factor in the division. Who knows? Who's the best team in the division? Is it clearly Tampa, or is it?
It's Tampa until it isn't. I mean, that's the most stable program in this division, and I love this division. I joke with my old friends, Wes Durham and D. Orlando Ledbetter and everybody down in Atlanta all the time. We've seen some things. We've watched a lot of weird football over the years. This division's messy even when everybody's good.
Yeah.
So I enjoy it. I still think it's anybody's division truly because it keeps getting pushed to the middle. Tampa Bay is the best team of this lot. It's just a matter of, who's able to stay healthy and stay fortunate. I talked to some people who were down in Tampa during the time when Baker Mayfield wasn't practicing, and they were like, and they go out and get a Teddy Bridgewater to be their backup. So everybody in this division is vulnerable, but Tampa is the most stable team. That's why they've been in the playoffs 5 years in a row.
Yeah, I don't think New Orleans is a team to watch in this division.
Well, that depends on what you're watching for,
Okay.
I suppose.
There you go.
The heart wants what the heart wants.
Darin Gantt, how much bend do you have?
I have a seriously decreasing amount, as I find out every time I drop my keys in the morning or get on the way to the door if I spill coffee and try to clean it up. Yeah, it's less than it used to be, but I'm holding my own.
Yeah, exponentially decreasing bend. Darin Gantt, Panthers.com, at Darin Gantt with 2 T's for extra talent. My friend, I appreciate your time. Welcome to the season.
Yeah, absolutely. We didn't even get a chance to talk about Appalachian laying the wood to the helpless UNCCs. I mean, what a way to start the college football season.
That was great.
Can the Charlottes rebound against the equally helpless Tar Heels?
Oh, my gosh. That would be North Carolina fans would not be able to handle even a competitive game against the 49ers.
Woo!
Not even a competitive one.
What could possibly go wrong?
My gosh. All right, sir. I appreciate your time. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Have fun. See y'all.
You got it. Darin Gantt here on the Adam Gold Show. When we come back, it was the end of an era on Saturday, and maybe one of the most influential people in the history of a specific sport. We'll do that. We will rewind. Sadly, it will be a lot about the North Carolina football team. Next.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Adam Gold here from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. It is finally here. The National Football League is starting on Thursday. Dallas at Philadelphia. The defending champions will wheel out their Super Bowl trophy and taunt the Cowboys with it because Dallas is somewhat pathetic. By the way, the Eagles are almost a touchdown favorite at home, and there will be pain. FanDuel getting you ready for kickoff with a great new offer for new customers. Bet $5, win that bet, get $300 in bonus bets. That's right. Win a bet, get $300 of our money. FanDuel.com/AGS. Download the FanDuel app today. FanDuel.com/AGS. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
For North Carolina high school seniors, the countdown to college is on. And at CFNC, we've got all the resources and information needed to get you on campus next year. Take College Application Week, for example. Did you know you can apply for free at many North Carolina colleges from October 20th through October 26th? Sure can. Don't miss the opportunity to save some money applying to college. And for more help, visit cfnc.org/C2C.
Did you know? Atlantic hurricane season runs through November. From gathering necessary supplies to planning an evacuation route, now is the time to make sure you and your family are prepared. And if a storm damages our electric system, local public power providers are ready to respond and restore power quickly and safely. As a public power customer, you benefit from having an electricity provider that restores power faster than other providers do. Visit electricities.com for storm preparation tips and resources.
At North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, you're more than a policy, you're family. With offices in every county, we're close by when it matters most. Our local agents customize coverage to fit your life. And our award-winning claims team delivers fast, quality repairs. It's no surprise Forbes ranked us the #1 auto insurer in America. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
Now, all across North Carolina, it's Carolina Newsmakers. Each week, leaders from politics, education, business, and the arts join Don Curtis to share insights and ideas shaping our state. Listen on radio stations throughout North Carolina and on demand at carolinanewsmakers.com. Carolina Newsmakers is presented in part by the North Carolina Academy of Family Physicians, advancing family medicine in North Carolina since 1947.
Have you ever considered a career as a public power line worker? Public power line workers use a variety of specialized skills to build and maintain a locally owned and operated electric system. As a public power line worker, you can expect a career that allows you to work close to home, a safety record superior to other energy providers, and training and apprenticeship opportunities. Learn more about public power and careers in public power at electricities.com.
When life feels overwhelming, knowing where to turn can make all the difference.
That's why crisis services are here for anyone at any time, no judgment.
If you or someone you love is struggling with mental health, substance use, or feeling lost,
crisis services are here for you 24/7.
Compassionate, low, or no-cost services.
Whatever your crisis, you always have options. Find the support that's right for you.
Visit ncdhhs.gov/crisis services.
This is Adam Gold.
So Mike Vrabel, the coach of the New England Patriots, they asked him about birthday cake, and he said there was only one cake qualified for his birthday cake.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you want to guess what that is?
Is it vanilla?
No.
Oh.
Carrot.
I love him even more.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Victoria's on the ones and twos. NFL season starts on Thursday, by the way. I'm sure you're aware of this. Dallas will be in Philadelphia. The next night, who is it? The Chiefs and the Chiefs and Chargers?
Yes, in Brazil. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have NFL football Thursday, Friday, and then, of course, Sunday and Monday. And we are going to check in with our friends in the desert. And I know last year we spent some time each week talking about, like, best bets and we do that every day. But I thought, since I have a friend who focuses on fantasy football, we do a fantasy football segment coming up this year.
Yeah.
So if you have fantasy football questions, who should I start? I have this wide receiver and this wide receiver. Who should I put in my flex position? It sounds like a loaded question to me.
It is.
By all means, get it to us, and we will ask the fantasy expert.
Nice.
Okay?
Maybe they can help me with mine.
Honestly, we could just answer Victoria's fantasy football questions.
So should I do this one or that one?
Right. I am not in a league this year. My son is in a league. I think he's got a good team, but what do I know? I never finish high in those leagues anyway.
See, this is why, I'm already competitive, but in the league that I'm in, I've been in the playoffs every year. I won the first year I was in it, and I've made it in the top 3 2 out of the 3 years. So I'm, really competitive with it, and I always get a bad pick. 9th out of 12.
Who are you taking? Who are you going to take?
I already took them.
Oh, you already did?
I already had it on
Who was
Sunday.
your first pick?
And who was my first pick? I'll have to go back. I don't know. I've got Burrow on there. I've got
Joe
McLaurin.
Burrow. Okay. Burrow's going to throw for maybe 8,000 yards.
Exactly. I hope so. Maybe 8,000.
He's going to have to.
I got Chuba, so I went out on.
I had Chuba Hubbard last year.
It's dangerous for me. I know.
Chuba Hubbard was really good to have last year.
He was a good one to go with. So.
I had Josh Allen, too. I was criticized. Yahoo gave me, if you do the leagues on yahoo.com, which actually I think is the easiest to navigate of all the fantasy leagues, right?
Yeah. ESPN changed it this year.
Yeah, I did basketball with them, and I didn't like it. But Yahoo will give you a grade for your draft. I got a D+.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Thankfully, it was a D+.
Yeah.
But the criticism was that I drafted Josh Allen earlier than they thought I should draft Josh Allen.
The whole ADP thing.
Right. I drafted him I didn't want to wait.
Yeah.
I drafted late in our first round. Nobody cares, but whatever. I drafted him late in not round 1. I had picks in the first 2 rounds. And I think it might have been my second pick. No, I think it was my pick late in round 3.
Yeah.
Because they tell you, don't draft quarterbacks. Like, I ain't waiting.
I know.
I wanted the guy.
I was going to pick him in the 3rd round, but somebody sniped him from me. So that's why I got Burrow.
Josh Allen was a machine, and he was the reason why I made it to the semifinals.
Exactly.
I got a D on my draft, a D+ on my draft. So,
you never.
Yeah, before we get to a rewind, Saturday, and it's weird that ESPN chose game 1 to be Lee Corso's last game. So, I mean, huge, high-profile game, one in which ESPN really didn't have, they had no broadcast rights to it. They were just at the game of the day. And there were other options. They could have chosen Clemson, Notre Dame, which was on their family of networks. They could have chosen Florida State, Alabama. They could have chosen a lot of other games. But they chose Texas at Ohio State, and it was the final ever helmet pick for Lee Corso.
The final pick of Lee Corso's glorious career. It is fitting that this is the place it ends, because this is where it all started. 102,780, probably more, eagerly anticipating to see what the ultimate maestro of college football Saturday morning has to say right now.
I just say I think it's incredibly fitting that in 1996, when you asked Allison about Brutus the headgear, that you wanted to put that head on. And you did that 30 years ago. You put that headgear on and became a fabric of college football. How fitting is it we're at Ohio State, Texas, in Columbus, and you've got one last headgear to make.
All right, this is one of the easiest picks I've ever made. Texas is loaded. Texas is number 1. They have a Manning at quarterback. Poor Ohio State. They ain't got a chance. Give me my first love.
There it is.
Here it comes. What a moment. What a career. 38 years. This man has led you through college football Saturday morning. And now that he's donned the headgear to start this 2025 season, we can play ball. LC, you are the absolute best. We love you. Thanks for everything you've done. Thanks for this morning. Thanks to this crowd. Thanks to Ohio State and to Texas for everything you guys have done to make this one of the most memorable moments that any of us have ever had. Great day. The legend Lee Corso bids farewell. Enjoy your college football Saturday.
All right. So, I've said this about Dick Vitale. I don't think there is a person more responsible if we're going to pick out a singular person, and it's not just one person. But if we were going to make a list of the people responsible for college basketball's popularity today, it's Vitale. Over anybody else in the history of college basketball. Today's popularity, I believe, is mostly owed, not mostly, but again, first on the list, Dick Vitale. The way his excitement, enthusiasm, presentation of the sport, love of the sport. Lee Corso is, to a slightly lesser extent, in many ways, college football's version of Dick Vitale without being on the games. The show, the ESPN College Game Day, which is still the standard. It is, and if you go down the list of the people who hosted it, Chris Fowler used to host no teleprompter. None. He just ripped it, and he was awesome at it. Probably the best thing that Fowler does, or did, because he doesn't do it anymore, professionally. And he's good at a lot of other things. But the host of that show, there was nobody ever as good as that. But Corso and his personality and he was just fun, really made the show. And they talked about the first time they ever put headgear on was at an Ohio State game. And obviously they ended perfect bookend to a career. Whether or not the career should have gone on, he's 90 years old, right? So, and it's been, obviously, as you get up there in age, your cognitive decline, at least in terms of the way you're able to present yourself, doesn't mean that that your mind isn't sharp. It just becomes more difficult to present what your thoughts are. That's kind of been apparent. But he's still been such a huge part of that show. You see Kirk Herbstreit had in his inside of his jacket, the lining of his jacket, were all pictures of him and Corso.
Yeah.
It's just tremendous. So I thought it would be appropriate not to end the show because we're not done yet, but to just give a couple of thoughts on that rather than rush it. That's a big part of college football's routine gone. Do you also know that it was the most watched college game day ever?
Oh, wow.
I think it was 3.55 million people.
That's a lot.
Watched college for a regular season college game day, I guess. But 3.55 million people watched that.
Well, Bill Belichick ain't bringing that. That's for sure now.
I'll be looking forward to seeing what the ratings are for last night.
Very curious.
I've been saying this all year long, all summer, ever since they hired him, that it's going to put North Carolina in terms of viewership, unless they completely tank, and I'm not sure, and that will really determine where Carolina games are shown. But as long as they're decent enough to be on network television and ESPN and not relegated to, no offense, ACC Network or ESPN Plus, which I think the Charlotte game is an ESPN Plus game. As long as they're not relegated to that, they're going to put up massive TV numbers this year. I would suspect that the game last night did really well.
Yeah, I'm sure it did.
In terms of television ratings.
Yeah.
So shouts to and congratulations on an amazing career to Lee Corso. Two quick things. He made 6 picks during the game, during the broadcast. All 6 hit, including Florida State's upset over Alabama and including LSU's win over Clemson.
I think he was the only one that picked Florida State, too.
And he also had Miami to beat Notre Dame. He was the only one to pick Florida State. Corso goes 6 for 6. Also, among former Lee Corso coached teams, whether as a head coach or as an assistant, every one of those teams won.
Wow, look at that.
Yes, every one of those teams won.
All the stars aligned for him that day.
I mean,
it's
we met Lee Corso here. I don't remember the year, but we used to do this thing called the Evening of Champions. We bring in speakers. Lee Corso was brought in one year. Awesome.
That would have been awesome.
It was.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And he could not, no possible way, could not have been a nicer guy. So, just congratulations on an incredible career for Lee Corso. All right, shall we rewind? All right. We'll keep it local to start. I'm not sure what we're going to have time for, but we'll keep it local right here. Bryn Renner, former North Carolina quarterback. Let's just talk about the play that started the second half, that ended the game. Looked to me like the defense wasn't a tackling problem. It was a nobody could get off of a block problem.
Yeah, and there was a couple times where the guy's walking in the end zone, and that's obviously concerning. I think, obviously the first game, and you saw it throughout college football all weekend, I don't think the quarterback play from the guys that we anointed before the season was all that special. Look at Arch, you look at, a couple guys that we were like, okay, well, these are guys that are – the only kid that played well, I thought, was Nussmeier in playing on the road at Clemson, and he's a good football player. But if you look at quarterback play as a whole, it takes a little bit to see different defenses too. And I know that just from playing, like, you're going against your defense every single day from spring until training camp. You're like, oh, I'm the man. I can, throw it through everybody. And then you kind of get humbled. You're like, oh, wow, they're actually playing, cover three instead of, just quarters or whatever your defense plays every day. So it takes a little bit. And I think it's, as quarterbacks get in the flow, you got to see, obviously they have the tablets on the sidelines now, and you can kind of get the rhythm. And then defensively, the flip side is kind of like, okay, we haven't tackled another opponent. And like I said, you tackle twice, maybe you have 2 scrimmages throughout the course of training camp. But really, it's really just a period. Maybe it's a block of 15 to 20 plays, but tackling in all of football now is really hard to do just because of the physicality. You want to protect your players because it's going to be a long, grueling season that we seem to just keep on adding more and more games to, right? So in order to win the national championship, you got to play 15 games now. It's like, soon, Adam, we're just going to play 20 games and everyone's going to have to be a gladiator. So you really can't tackle that much. And so it's really just, the first games are always really tough. And I think I said it before the game on the call. It was like, if we can just get to the fourth quarter within a score, I think it's such a win for us. Obviously it didn't turn out that way, but I think there's positive momentum. And I think getting to Saturday at 8:00 when we play Charlotte is going to be a good time to do that.
Man, I wish last night had gone better. I wish it had gone better. It didn't, unfortunately. And the only way to get that taste out of everybody's mouth, although I would imagine that State fans and others are gargling with it because, gosh, it was delicious. And I think there's a number of, and by the way, I don't mean any of this in a mean way. I think there's a number of people in the media that thought this was a ridiculous idea. And again, they're probably going to end up being right. And are, celebrating what we saw, which was an absolute mismatch of a football game. But the only way for North Carolina to get over this is to get better. Has to start Saturday in Charlotte. And that needs to look like North Carolina knows what it's doing. I'd like to say that game can't be competitive, but who knows? But Carolina's got to look like they know what they're doing. And unfortunately, there was way too much of Keystone Cops-ish looking things
they were
for
lost.
UNC. Again, to me, they didn't look like they lined up right. They got too easily blocked away from plays. And maybe they just don't have enough talent, which compared to TCU was probably the case. But they've got a few weeks before it really gets real when Clemson gets here on, I believe, October 4th. That could be messy, even though I'm not sure Clemson's great. Chip Patterson joins us tomorrow. Hope everybody will have a grand rest of your Tuesday. Victoria, thank you. See everybody tomorrow.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from our friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Thursday, it all begins. The NFL season kicks off, and new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. That's right, $5 on it. If it wins, you get $300 of our money to use all across the app. You can build parlays, do whatever you like. Hey, Dallas and Carolina are basically the same odds to make the playoffs. It ain't great. The only question is, are you ready? FanDuel.com/AdamGold. FanDuel.com/AdamGold. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
The road to college football's national championship runs through 99.9 The Fan. All the best teams, all the cool traditions, and all the touchdowns.
Lopez in the pistol with Hood behind him. He will hand to him. Hood right side. Slithers through and powered home. Touchdown, Carolina. What a start for Belichick in the heel.
College football on The Fan is powered by Wake Med and Wilkinson Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC in Sanford.
What? New scratch-offs are out? That means new chances to become a North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club member.
Yeah, in the Winners Club, I'll reinvent myself. I won't go by